This booklet, anything you found particularly helpful, things that our audience might want to know more about?
There's one thing that they didn't stress enough, I think, but it was an excellent work, and that is on 2 occasions, one I went to be operated on, and the doctor asked my advice on something, the surgeon, and I didn't think that I was able to handle that question. And I said, talk to my people outside, let them make the decision. Another time, my son was in an operation.
So wait, hold on. Let me understand that. So there was a point where you weren't able to make a decision on your own?
I didn't think I could make the decision.
Because you were under sedation?
I was under sedation.
So you had assigned a family member. You assigned your son to make the decision in your place?
Not only my son, my daughter, and my wife.
Well, Jerry, thank you so much for...
God bless you, doctor, and good luck to you. You're doing wonderful work on this.
Thanks so much.
I'm taking charge of my health. I'm an empowered patient.
Welcome back to Aging Well in L.A. Got something very interesting for you veterans out there and surviving spouses. I'm with Kathleen O'Sullivan and Bonnie Lederman. Did I get it right?
You did.
I did. This is a fascinating topic, the benefits that may be available to senior veterans. Bonnie, explain how you got this started.
Paul, in 2003, I started Veterans Home Care because my mom, Edie Sperling, passed away previously from breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
It was consuming my trips back and forth. They were countless from St. Louis to California.
Mm-hmm.
My mom needed home care, but her income was extremely low. I had nobody to help us. And when I did my research in the later months of her illness, I found that the Veterans Administration has a pension. It's called Aid and Attendance, and it's specifically used for home care.
I see.
And the benefit is strictly for veterans of wartime and surviving spouses.
I see.
The uniqueness of this is that my company, Veterans Home Care, helps veterans and surviving spouses get home care through this pension from the Veterans Administration. It has 3 requirements. Basically, it's for veterans and surviving spouses of the wartime eras, and they are World War II, Korean War, and Vietnam War.
Right.
The 3 requirements, of course, the person had to serve at least 90 days with 1 day during wartime of active duty. They need to have an honorable discharge. They also have to have a serious medical condition, which keeps them approximately 60% housebound.
I understand. Okay.
And not driving.
Well, and non-medical home care or even medical home care is a much more efficient way to deliver services to people besides that they're home and in familiar surroundings. And Kathleen, is this a big population? I mean, you're not going to shock me if you tell me it's tens of thousands of people.
Oh, it's thousands of people. 45% of our seniors here are veterans.
Wow. Well, now, that's not surprising. Everybody was involved, especially World War II, and that's really got to be the bubble of the population. So how does a person access these programs? Do they call to buy your company, or is there a 800 number?
It's 877-878-4248.
Okay, and we'll have that on the screen. Get your pencil and paper out. So say it again, please.
877-878-4248.
Okay, and is there a website as well?
Yes.
And
Our
that is?
website is I left the W out.
That's okay, we know that.
veteranshomecare.com.
veteranshomecare.com. All right. Now, once you became energized on this subject, were you surprised when you saw how many people needed this service?
I knew it in my heart. When my mom was ill, I called my husband. I said, we're starting a new business because
Right.
there have to be thousands of people that are going through exactly what I went through in taking care of my parent. And the pension is difficult to get because you have to spend more than your income on medical expenses in order to receive this.
I understand, but that's not so hard to do with the costs of prescriptions and all the rest. Some of us are really being hammered.
The only qualifying expense that you can use is home care.
I see.
And most people can't afford to pay for home care and the rent. So that's what's unique about Veterans Home Care. We front the money for the veteran and surviving spouse. And when they get the money from the pension, they reimburse us for the services that we've given them.
I see. Well, that's wonderful, because so often the upfront costs of getting into a program are so intimidating. People say, oh, I don't have the resources to do this.
And they throw their hands up.
Yeah. Now, Kathleen, talk to me about planning ahead. What if you're like the son or daughter of a veteran who may be in this position? Can you kind of plan ahead to get these services in place before the need arises?
Yes, that's a great idea to do that. It's, you know, there's a lot of paperwork to compile together.
I'm sure.
That, you know, they need to do that. So preparing for that is the best way, because we, you know, I pre-qualify them.
They need.
And what?
Okay.
I missed that.
The papers that they need are going to be the discharge paper, which should
Right.
be honorable, the marriage license, the death certificate of the spouse,
Right.
and they need bank statements and a Social Security award letter.
You got to prove all of this
Right.
stuff. Well, I hope this has been of value to you veterans out there who may be in this very unique position. Well, not so unique. Probably a lot of people out there are in this position. Help is available. We'll be putting back the telephone number and the website for you. So please access this program. There's help available. We'll be right back.
We're here to scientifically prove the end result of riding a bicycle against traffic. The average car weighs 6,000 pounds. The average bicycle with rider weighs 170 pounds, give or take a few. A typical car traveling 35 miles per hour has 220 times the momentum or energy of a bike rider traveling 10 miles per hour. And if the two collide, bug splatter. Avoid being bug splatter.
Ride right, stop at the light, watch the road.
Yo, check this out. I'm at the light, right? Dude was trying to fill me out, so I blew right past him. Yeah, I won. But I wasn't the real winner, because he's alive and I'm dead.
What about my family? I wasn't even part of your street race. Now I'm dead.
And don't even think, man, that'll never happen to me, dog, because that's what I thought. And now, I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye.
Listen, life is important. Drive responsibly. Learn more at watchtheroad.org.
Welcome back to Aging Well in L.A. Now, anybody in this city knows that we have a great park system. And I want to introduce you to Anthony Montanez, who is with our city park system. And welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Our parks play an amazing key role in the lives of seniors because they can access those facilities. What were some of the special things you learned today about the role that the parks play in lives of seniors?
Well, what I learned through the speaker that spoke earlier was how we can attract the baby boomers. There's a lot of people out there that don't realize that they are seniors.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And making our senior centers more attractive to them.
Sure. Now, what was the discussion? It was like games or outings?
More outings, camping, skiing, going out, jogging, mountain biking, just fun things to do.
Yes.
You know, not just sitting there and playing bingo and other, table games are great.
Yeah, sure.
Some people want to get out and enjoy the outdoors.
Well, I think so. And the boomers are a lot more active. They like golf outings and going up the mountains, which are nearby, that's for sure. So is this something that you will pass on to activities directors at the various facilities?
Yes, a lot of our directors are in the Knowledge Fair, and they're attending.
Yes.
And hopefully they'll take that back, and we'll discuss it and how we can get some additional funding to do a lot of this.
Right, well, additional funding, that's going to be a challenge in these times, that's for sure. But have the parks Have they been able to maintain at least a level of service that is sufficient?
I think we have. We haven't really had any major cutbacks. We have had some cutbacks, but I think we're going to be okay. We've got a good group of people out there working hard. We have a great volunteer corps, which really steps up during these times.
Well, I think it's great that when people, once they can get themselves there the first time, they sort of fall into the lifestyle, don't they?
Oh, yes, they do.
And then they bring their best ideas, which I like to see.
Oh, yeah.
Now, are the nutrition programs delivered at parks, are they still going on?
Yes, they are. We have several different nutrition programs that come to our parks.
Right. I know I've always been encouraged to see how often our seniors are really getting a good meal and some guidance for nutrition at home.
Yeah, that's a great thing about this. They, you know, the meals, I know they're not, they're filled with a lot of spices and salts and stuff,
Right.
but they're healthy meals, and, you know, they also get the information they need to take it home and make better meals at home.
Right, I think so. And the best part, though, is the socialization. Seniors getting together with their common interests, even if it's pulling out your wallet and saying, well, I've got a new grandkid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, show their pictures.
Are the leagues still going on, the bowling leagues and the pool leagues and things like that?
We do have aqua aerobics,
Great.
water fitness programs at some of our facilities. We have lawn bowling at Arcadia Park.
Great.
And that seems to attract a lot of people, and it's a great sport.
That's good. Seniors got to get out more often. Anthony Montanez, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back.
Welcome to Braille Institute, a nonprofit organization that has been designed to work with individuals with fading vision. Please come along with us as we explore our Vista store, a store that has many different items and accessories that can support individuals with fading vision. I'm here with our Vista store coordinator, Jorge Marquez, who will explain some of the wonderful items that we have here available for people with low vision.
Okay. Hi. Here are a few devices that we have in our store. We have a 10x magnifier mirror. We also have a low vision keyboard with large print as well. We have an atomic talking watch, and also with large numbers so that the person can either look at the numbers or can hear the voice. We have a large print button TV remote control that will make it also easier for the person with fading vision. There is a large print big address book. We also have a giant print address book, which is much larger than the one before, with numbers and names that can be very bold in lines. And we also have as well a pocket address book with large words and numbers. We have a pen that is called 2020. This pen will write in bold, and it doesn't leak, and it doesn't go through the page. As you can see, one, and you can see the numbers really bold. Okay. As you can see, these devices are very useful for individuals with fading vision. Come and see us at any time. We're here for you. And enjoy. Thank you.
As you can see, we have so many opportunities here for people with fading vision. You may know somebody who has fading vision, or you yourself may have vision that's not doing so well. Remember, we are here. Come and see us. We are here to help you. Almost all of our students have some vision. Only 10% of people have no vision at all. You could be one of those, somebody with macular degeneration, glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, or even cataracts. All of those are the people that are here. People with those diseases are the people that are here at Braille Institute. So please, come join us. Your life can be very good again.
Welcome back to Aging Well in LA. We are still here at the Senior Center's Directors Gathering at the Braille Institute with a longtime friend of our show, Larry Lismonby. It's great to see you again, Larry.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Are you enjoying the conference?
Absolutely. It was incredible this morning.
Yeah? I heard there was a standing ovation.
It was. He had clearly done his homework. He gave us some really good practical suggestions about what we can do going forward to make our senior centers a success and to meet the needs of the boomers and the seniors.
Well, it's especially challenging in this year with the downsizing and the budget cuts. How are you doing over there at One Generation? Are the challenges insurmountable?
No, they're surmountable. We think we're going to survive, but we've lost staff due to layoffs, and those layoffs are a result of cutbacks in government funding and reductions in grants that are available out there.
Yeah, well, and the economy is flat. I don't know what else to call it. And isn't it remarkable this happens at exactly the time when the needs are increasing because there are more and more seniors?
It's as if there were an inverse relationship. Just as our funding goes down, the need for services has gone up.
It's remarkable. I know I spoke with the seniors group, and we were talking about the greater need for volunteers who can help fill in the gap with their wisdom and their energy.
Yes, and because of cutbacks in staffing, the need for volunteers is going to increase this coming year.
I think so.
Most seniors would not be able to function, in my opinion, without additional volunteers.
It's true. This is a place where we really have to plug the holes. We need to step up, and whether it's meal delivery or food service or transportation or just someone to help run the dance class, for goodness sake.
Yes, we're increasingly relying upon volunteers to conduct our programs, activities, exercises.
Well, of course, a volunteer gets so much more back. I know I see that across the board. The volunteers are just, they beam with pleasure knowing they're doing some good for their community.
And the good news in all this is as the baby boomers come online, more of them are interested in serving as opposed to being served.
Right.
So they're looking for meaningful outlets, and they have a lot to contribute.
Well, when you come away from this gathering, will you have some new ideas and some fresh approaches, you think?
Absolutely. I'm excited about getting back to my staff and saying, look, these are some of the things we learned about as ways we can attract seniors to our center, make it more attractive, make their experience here more meaningful, more relevant. So that should be a good outcome.
That's a good reason to have these conferences. Like-minded people sharing their best ideas.
Yeah, yes, it is. We do this every 6 months, and we always go away with things that we can do to make our centers more effective, more attractive, and to benefit the seniors.
Great. Well, Larry, thank you again for being with us today. It's a great pleasure. And thanks so much for being with us today on Aging Well in L.A.
An emergency can happen at any time.
Earthquake!
That's why you need to be prepared. Put together an emergency kit with food, water, a first aid kit, a flashlight, radio, and some tools.
I can't believe it, it's an earthquake!
You're never too old to prepare.
Ah, get out of there!
Get the message? Be prepared.
Get out of the house!
Hey, buddy! You with the stupid hat. Come here. Closer. No parking! Do you know what happens when you park illegally on these narrow hillside streets? You block the street so emergency vehicles can't pass. Each year, homes are destroyed and lives are lost because of drivers like you who park illegally. And you know what else? You can get a citation. And you can be towed.
Help us get to the emergency. The life we save just might be yours.
How'd you know?
The ball called.
Hey, look out for the pothole.
LA City View Channel 35. Your city, your channel.
Mr. Lavonde is excused. Mr. Reyes is excused. Mr. Zine is excused. And Mr. Garcetti is excused. So we are waiting for the arrival of Mr. Alarcon, Ms. Khan, Mr. Pizar, Mr. Koretz, Mr. Victorian, Mr. Lavonde, Mr. Rosenthal, and Thank you very much, Mr. Parks. We haven't reached quorum yet, but I thought we could go ahead and begin with the first presentation.
Very good. I'd like you to join me on these presentations. Ms. Perry, we're going to be honoring a number of honorees today dealing with Black Music Month, month of June. And with us today, and I'd like to ask them to come up at this time, is Dr. Patrice Rushen, come up, Michael Bearsden, Ray Chu, Ricky Minor, Greg Fillingays will be here shortly, Harold Wheeler, Big Jim Wright, Barbara Morrison, and Frida Payne. And let's give them all an applause for that. Today, we're here to pay special tribute to the contributions of 7 trailblazers in television music history during the Black Music Month, 2011. As I mentioned earlier, there's Dr. Patrice Rushen, who I had the great pleasure of working with her mom in years past as our first female and first Black general manager of the state prison system a number of years ago. Also a graduate of one of our local high schools. And Miss Hahn? Where's Miss Hahn? A Locke graduate. Dr. Rushen. Okay. Michael Bearsden from the Lopez Tonight. Ray Chu from American Idol. Ricky Minor from The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Greg Fillingays from the Grammy Awards, Harold Wheeler, Dancing with the Stars, Big Jim Wright, The Monique Show, and they've captured the history and significance of Black Music Month as African American music directors working across the diverse genre and bringing the soundtracks of television alive nightly throughout the nation, leading the music of television's most popular programming. Through the unique partnership, the next 20 years, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, the Beverly Hills and Hollywood branch of NAACP, the California African American Museum, and the California Legislature Black Caucus, our honorees were brought together for the first time last week to celebrate the abundance of exemplary music directors of African American descent for a panel discussion entitled Shaping the Sound of TV. The Black music directors led by Grammy Award-winning artist and composer and musical director Patrice Rushen. As we celebrate today honorees in the tradition of commemorating Black Music Month, we are reminded that Kenneth Gamble of the legendary hit songwriting producing team of Gamble and Huff, along with his then wife Diana, were the founding champions of Black Music Month, recognized in 1979 by President Jimmy Carter. Over 30 years later, President Barack Obama upholds the tradition, issuing African American Music Appreciation Month proclamations annually, establishing a month that encourages citizens to recall known and unknown musicians and artists who have contributed to the rich legacy of Black music that includes the early Negro spirituals, ragtime, and the blues, to jazz, gospel, soul, and rock and roll. As well, African Americans continue to contribute with excellence to musical theater, opera, classical symphonies, all treasured sounds of the United States' rich cultural heritage. Our first honoree, Dr. Patrice Rushen, is a Grammy Award-winning musician and composer who is also one of the most sought-after artists in the music industry. She is a classically trained pianist and who originally found success in the 70s and 80s with her signature fusion of jazz, pop, and R&B. She is the first female music director for many of the entertainment industry's top award shows, which includes the Grammy Awards, the Emmy Awards, the People's Choice Awards, the NAACP Image Awards, and HBO Comic Relief Awards. The NAACP Image Awards, and also the HBO Comic Relief 5. Considered one of the world's top jazz pianists, she has performed with many artists, among them such esteemed names as Stevie Wonder, Herbie Hancock, Prince, Nancy Wilson, Ndugu Chancellor, Carlos Santana, Wayne Shorter, Lee Ritenour, and Hubert Laws. In 2005, Patrice received an honorary doctorate from the prestigious Berklee College of Music in Boston, Massachusetts. She served as Berklee's first ambassador of artistry and education. Patrice is an artist in residence and curriculum consultant for USC Thornton School of Music Popular Music Program, and she's an alumnus of USC. She also spends time working with Los Angeles Cultural Affairs Department, Jazz Mentorship Program, the Recording Academy Grammy in the schools, and the Young Musicians Program of Berkeley, California. May I ask Ms. Perry to come up?
Okay, great. Thanks. Denise, how are you? Good to see you. Michael Bearden is a proud Chicago native and an accomplished music director. He is a keyboardist, an arranger and composer, and the music director for TBS's Lopez Tonight. He has successfully written scores for feature films and documentaries and has worked with modern music performers, most recognizable names including Madonna, Lionel Richie, Whitney Houston, Jennifer Lopez, Sting, and Carlos Santana. A professional and personal highlight saw him serve as music director on Michael Jackson's This Is It tour and documentary-style film of the same name as a composer and co-producer. I'm going to give that to you. Okay, great. Ray Chu. He is the musical director for Fox's American Idol and a veteran composer and band leader for television music shows. Ray has served as the music director for NBC's It's Showtime at the Apollo, The Singing Bee, and Sunday Best on BET. He has worked with the leading ladies of R&B, including Jennifer Hudson, Mary J. Blige, Mariah, Beyonce, Alicia Keys, and Rihanna. Earlier this week, Ray's musical skills were put to use at the Apollo Foundation's Salute to Stevie Wonder, a Black Music Month event in New York City. Ricky Minor, an Emmy Award-nominated music producer and composer, is a music director for NBC's The Tonight Show with Jay Leno. Ricky has a resume of well-known projects and artist collaborations, including Christina Aguilera, Carrie Underwood, Jennifer Hudson, Usher, Beyonce, Quincy Jones, and Jamie Foxx. He has also served as music director for the Super Bowl, the Grammy Awards, and 6 seasons of American Idol. He's a 3-time Emmy nominee for Outstanding Music Direction, most recently drawing recognition for the 51st Annual Grammy Awards show and Genius, A Night for Ray Charles, the television special that brought together Elton John, Kenny Chesney, and Norah Jones. Greg Fillinganes. He has amassed a long list of credits as a musician, a musical conductor, and producer. As of 2011 Grammy Awards music director, he served in the same role in 2008. Recently, he was the music director for the Surprise Oprah, A Farewell Spectacular, having also served as a music director for Michael Jackson's Bad and Dangerous tours. Fillinganes has been recruited to serve as music director for Cirque du Soleil's Michael Jackson, The Immortal World Tour Las Vegas stage show. He has worked with artists from every musical genre, from Quincy Jones to Stevie Wonder, Lionel Richie to Eric Clapton, Anita Baker, and Paulino da Costa. Harold Wheeler is an accomplished orchestrator, composer, conductor, arranger, record producer, and is the music director and composer for ABC's hit show, Dancing with the Stars, a position he has held for 11 straight seasons. Harold's body of work includes 4 decades of composing and arranging musicals such as A Chorus Line, Dreamgirls, Coco, Scandal, Melvin Van Peebles, Ain't Supposed to Die a Natural Death, and Don't Play Us Cheap. Wheeler has been nominated for 6 Tony Awards for his work on musicals: Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, Hairspray, The Full Monty, Swing, Little Me, and The Life He's Secured. And the Life. He's secured several motion picture credits, composed jingles for major corporate brands, and served as an arranger and music director for special events. He was a music conductor for the 76th and the 79th Academy Awards productions, only the second African American to serve in that role. Recently, Harold was honored by the California African American Music with their inaugural Black Music Award month, and his most recent work can be heard in Twist, a new musical directed and choreographed by Debbie Allen this summer at the Pasadena Playhouse. And finally, James Big Jim Wright, Grammy Award-winning composer, lyricist, music producer, and singer. James Big Jim Wright is music director of The Monique Show and the Penthouse Players. He has worked intimately as a songwriter and producer with many musical guests, including Janet Jackson, Elton John, Mariah Carey, the Isley Brothers, Anthony Hamilton, Chaka Khan, Patti LaBelle, and Gladys Knight. He has won several awards, including a Grammy for Best Gospel Song for Yolanda Adams' Be Blessed, and as producer, Best R&B Album for Chaka Khan's 2007 Funk This. He is also known as one of the lead singers of the original group Sounds of Blackness. These are our honorees. Two more? Yeah. Two more? Okay. Oh, sorry.
Read that and let me read that.
All right. Now I have two more. And we are going to read these. Barbara Morrison, many of you know Barbara Morrison. Come on up here, Barbara. She's a dazzling woman and artist, sings in a vast array of genres from traditional jazz to blues and gospel to pop. She has a 2.5 octave range. She is known worldwide for her highly spirited interpretations of songs both familiar and classic. Equally striking about Barbara is her ability to really let go and let loose and belt out a down-home soul-stirring blues rendition, as well as impassioned renditions of old and favorite torch songs. It's nothing short of breathtaking to be able to witness her perform. She has been on The Tonight Show. She has performed on a movie soundtrack called The Hurricane, which starred Denzel Washington. She has been on the Dennis Miller Show. She performs all over the world in jazz festivals. Many outstanding performances were at Montreux, at Nice, and Carnegie Hall, North Sea, Monterey, and particularly her salute to Dizzy Gillespie and her tribute to Benny Golson are fondly remembered by her many legions of fans who return year after year to hear her perform. Barbara Morrison. Thank you. And of course, Freda Payne. Freda Payne is multi-talented. She first appeared nationally on the Ted Mack Original Amateur Hour. She started out singing jingles on the radio and local television and shows. And then she toured with Pearl Bailey's Music Review, sang with the Duke Ellington Band. When she moved to New York City, she made a number of appearances on the Johnny Carson Show, the Merv Griffin Show, the Dick Cavett Show. She has toured in the past with the Four Tops, Billy Eckstein, Nipsey Russell on the Quincy Jones tour. She was an understudy for Leslie Uggams in Broadway's Hallelujah Baby. She has been in so many specials and has toured throughout the world on behalf of our soldiers to bring a bit of joy to them. She has recorded 21 albums, including a number of remakes of her very famous song, Band of Gold. She made the cover of Jet magazine after she was dubbed a Dame of Malta by the Knights of Malta and the Sovereign Military and Hospital Order of St. John of Jerusalem by the Prince of Romania. Now, Ms. Payne has hosted Black Women, a talk show in the 1980s before joining the cast of Duke Ellington's Sophisticated Ladies in 1982. She starred in productions of Ain't Misbehavin' with Della Reese, The Blues and the Nights, and Jelly's Last Jam with Gregory Hines and Savion Glover in the 90s. She has appeared in films such as Private Obsession, Sprung, Ragdoll, The Nutty Professor, The Clumps, and Fire and Ice. She has sung on American Idol, and she actually sang one of our favorite songs, A Band of Gold, and has joined many of her colleagues in singing and making an album to help the people of Haiti, and We Are the World for Haiti Relief. Let's give her a big hand.
On behalf of all of my colleagues, I want to say thank you very much for this beautiful and wonderful acknowledgement. The proclamations are beautiful, and I know that for each of us, it is very, very special to be acknowledged by you all. This is Black Music Month, but we celebrate black music and the contributions of African Americans and the people of African descent who have contributed to the music all over the world every day. And the reason, thank you. One of the reasons that I think is very important and very special that these particular group of gentlemen and women are here is because this is the first time in the history of television there have been this many African Americans involved at the head of the music departments on these network shows. So it says a lot about the individuals and their special, unique, and individual talents and people skills and everything else that goes along with doing anything where you're in charge. I know all y'all know about that. But it also speaks to a very important thing that I hope that we can be examples and reminders to appeal to you to do, for us all to do our best to keep music in our schools. Because it's so important. It's not only important to those who use music as a means of expression for their own contributions to society, but it also, music, the arts in general, are what makes us human. So you can tell from the different individuals that their credits and what they've accomplished that as musicians they are superb, but as people they are superb too. And so it's all part of it. We again thank you so much for your recognition today, and we look forward to seeing you help us help contribute to society in the way that we can through our music and through our efforts that are music related. Thank you so much.
Everybody, do you have your purses and everything? Okay.
Can I speak before they leave? Yes, actually, before Ms. Perry, Ms. Parks, before you leave, I'd like to recognize Michael Bearden. Michael and I had the opportunity to golf, well, we called it golf, in the George Lopez tournament, and I just wanted you to know that Tony and I will be recognizing San Fernando High School for their baseball championship as well as their academic, the decathlon success. But I wanted them to know that you're the musical director for George Lopez, and there's a special connection. George has agreed to purchase rings for the baseball team to celebrate their championship, and he has invited them on the show. So I wanted to make sure that you learned the San Fernando Tiger fight song when they come on the Tonight Show. You can the Lopez Tonight Show. You can play the right song. Anyway, congratulations. I know that you're a tremendous success at music because golf. You know, I think you made the right decision to stick with music. Anyway, congratulations.
Thank you very much. The next presentation will be Councilman Alarcon and Cardenas.
I'll be right back.
If I could ask all the people from San Fernando High School to step forward, please.
Hey, how you doing, bro? Are you only a student? Come on up, come on up.
Today is a proud day in Tiger history. San Fernando High School Tigers are represented not just for their athletic prowess, but more importantly for their academic prowess as well. San Fernando has a tremendous history in sports. Of course, in my generation, it was Anthony Davis and so many others who made USC's football teams amazing during the 70s. But today we are here to celebrate both sides of the equation because they are not only the they are not only the champions for the Division I city title in baseball, they also have achieved academic decathlon success in the Academic program. So we are here to celebrate two tremendous accomplishments this year. When you recognize that San Fernando High School has 4,600 students, and with the movement in the last 20 years trying to create smaller learning centers, you have to appreciate that San Fernando has tremendous challenges. I personally am very pleased for San Fernando. Not only do I represent them, but my grandfather used to be the janitor at San Fernando High School some 60 years ago. He lost his job there, in fact, because he didn't have his citizenship, and he refused to get it. He was a very proud man. My mother also attended San Fernando when it was at the other building. What you know as San Fernando Middle School used to be San Fernando High School. And so we all have very strong roots. Of course, this council has benefited tremendously from San Fernando High graduates, most notably Alex Padilla, former president, who is present here today, and Tony Cardenas, who currently serves. Nuri Martinez, who is a school board member, was also my deputy for 10 years and is now representing San Fernando High School on the school board. San Fernando High School was always struggling academically, but I can tell you the most important accomplishment, more important even than your accomplishments with what you've done with your championships, is that the school as a whole has met its goal with regard to API scores, and they are moving upward. The trend is going upward. So academically, you're all doing better, and that is the most important thing for all of us. But let's start with the academic decathlon team. Today we have the academic decathlon team that has excelled, I think, beyond anybody's expectation. You know, there's 7,000 academic decathlon teams in the United States of America. San Fernando High School is 52nd amongst all the academic decathlons in the nation. That is a tremendous accomplishment. There are nine students per team, and the students are from different grade levels, and they need to be in the A, B, and C average students. So these are not straight A students necessarily. They all have to contribute. That's the beauty of this program. Students are tested in 10 categories, including art, economics, essay, interview, language and literature, mathematics, music, science, social science, and speech. This year's study topic was the Great Depression. As you know, having chaired the Select Committee to End Poverty in California, that is a very important subject to me. They learned economics, art, history, everything about this time period. This year, over the weekend of March the 12th and 13th, San Fernando High Academic Decathlon team made the school's first appearance, their very first appearance at the State Academic Decathlon. A total of 560 students from all over the state, over 60 other teams from across California for the state competition. San Fernando High School is one of 11 high schools from the Los Angeles Unified School District. So we are very proud of our performance generally in the academic decathlon. This appearance came after 6 months of practice, hours upon hours of studying, and according to the LA Times, they all came to the academic decathlon in different ways. Matthew says, who's Matthew? Matthew? Okay, the LA Times quotes him as saying he was just bored. And so Jesus wanted a free T-shirt. Where's Jesus? As you can see, he's wearing his T-shirt. But I think there's a lot more to them. They obviously have a sense of humor. And they may follow in the lines of George Lopez, who also graduated from San Fernando High. The San Fernando High School Acadeca team has been around for 20 years. Coach Jeffrey Pearson has been the coach for 7 years, and over the last 5 years, the team has grown, both in terms of both in terms of terms, both in terms of their participation as well as their performance. This year's performance includes first place in their conference, the Northeast Valley area, 9th in the city of Los Angeles, and 10th out of over 60 teams in the state. They are ranked, as I said, 52nd out of 7,000 in the nation. And of the senior class, the students are going to Tulane University, UCLA, Pierce, Cal State LA, and I know all the students will be attending college. This is the first time San Fernando has made it this far. It has come close, but just missed it on other occasions. This is a huge step for a group of 9 A, B, and C students, of which I really appreciate the C students because that represents my high school experience. People ask me all the time, were you the first Latino student body president at your high school? And I said, yeah, but more importantly, I was the first C average student. I know Mr. Parks is surprised by that. The school newspaper El Tigre proclaimed Académica has all the answers. Though they did not win the competition, several students from San Fernando High were ranked in the top 10 out of 567 competitors in at least one category, including Radel Hernandez, raise your hand as I say your name, in math, Selena Ayon in literature and social sciences, Candy Macias in literature, music, social science, art, and economics. Wow, Candy. That's very sweet. Gus Villela, interview, Maria Duran, literature, social sciences, and art, Jesus Sanchez in literature, music, art, and the interview, Luis Albarran in literature. Congratulations to all of you. You are tremendous tributes to the long history and legacy of San Fernando's success, but now you have created a legacy that includes academic decathlons. Congratulations for all of that. We certainly have certificates for all of them. And by the way, you heard George Lopez is giving rings to the baseball team. I'm going to send him a note to ask him to get you guys a ring too. So I don't know what you get a ring for, but you certainly deserve it. So with that, before we go on with the next presentation, I'd like to ask our colleague, San Fernando Tiger, Tony Cardenas, to speak.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Alarcon, and it's very cool that you're actually doing this. You're fortunate to have San Fernando in your district where I graduated, and I'm fortunate to have Poly High School in my district where you graduated. So it's a pleasure to honor these San Fernando High School kids for their accolades. And I just wanted to say that this decathlon team, academic decathlon team, is a team that I let them know early on that if they needed anything to please call on me, and I want to thank them for calling on me when it was during their break, when most kids want to play video games and do everything other than look at a book or read anything. These young people said, we don't have a place to study. And I offered my office. They took me up on that. And as you can see, they certainly were good about studying and making sure that they made the best of their situation and went above and beyond the call of duty. That's how you become the first academic decathlon team in San Fernando Valley history to go to the state finals. So it's really important for us to understand, as Councilmember Alarcon mentioned, these young people, not only are they good looking, not only are they good in sports or what have you, but they are smart. Not only are they smart, but they're willing to meet challenges. And meeting challenges is something that I think that we ought to have confidence in our children in all the time. I just wanted to say something personal about a personal friend of mine who's on the decathlon team, the one that actually called me and said, can you help us, Councilman? And which I did, and that's Gus Villela Jr. I've known Gus Villela for about 8 or 9 years. I've known his family, his father, his sister, who's a nationally ranked teenage golfer, also from San Fernando High School, and I've been more than happy to be a part of their lives and grateful to be a part of their life. But one thing I want to share with people is when young people involve themselves in team sports or team activities, they grow leaps and bounds. Gus Villela, a couple of years ago, was a very shy, unsure young man. Now, he's a champion. Also, I've seen him grow from being a shy, unsure man. He ranked in the interview process. That means that verbally he had to stand there before people and actually present the case, present his arguments. I would have never guessed that Gus Villela Jr. would ever stand in front of anybody and present anything. And here he is, a champion in his own right. In addition to that, I saw an unsure kid go from, I'm not sure where I'm going to go to college or if I'm going to go to a great university. And in the last 12 months, he has applied to some of the best universities in the country. He did get accepted to some of the best universities in the country, and I think he made a fine decision because he is now going to be, this fall, a student at one of the best universities in the world, certainly the best university in all of Los Angeles, UCLA. So with that, congratulations to the decathlon team, and Gus Villela Jr.'s story is a story of every young man and woman on this team. I congratulate every single one of you.
Now for, that was the brains, this is the brawn. The 2011 Mighty Tigers baseball championship team from San Fernando High School in the Northeast San Fernando Valley. You know, I know a lot of you thought this was George Lopez standing next to me. It's actually the coach of the baseball team, and I believe you know George personally because he played at San Fernando High, and that's why he is so excited to make the donation of the rings. And we're excited to see you all on TV at the show. I think Alex also was a pitcher on the baseball team at San Fernando.
He said he was a star pitcher.
Yeah, well, I didn't say star pitcher, but he was a pitcher. Good enough to get into MIT, which has a huge baseball sports program. Is that not correct?
That's what they're known for.
They have a team, he said. Oh, anyway, Coach Armando Gomez and his assistants and the Tigers recently drove down Interstate 5 to Dodger Stadium and beat Chatsworth High School, no offense, Mr. Smith, and beat Chatsworth High 8-6 for the Los Angeles City Section Division I championship. In a recent Daily News article, Coach Gomez said that when his team first saw the exit sign for Stadium Way, the team went crazy with excitement, and that's when Coach Gomez knew his team would win. On that memorable Saturday, June 4th, 2011, the Mighty Tigers celebrated their first city title since 1991. In 1991, San Fernando High defeated Banning High School 3-2 for the City 4A championship. This 2011 the championship title is the second city baseball title for San Fernando in 20 years. Congratulations, Tigers. Per the Daily News, no one gave San Fernando High much of a chance against the national power Chatsworth in City Section Division I championship at Dodger Stadium. Nonetheless, the Mighty Tigers defied the odds and quietly emerged as the city champion in light of their fierce playoff schedule prior to the championship game. During their playoff run, the Mighty Tigers were 6th seed entering the playoffs, and they defeated number 11 Pacific Palisades, 2nd seed El Camino Real, and 3rd seed Kennedy High School. They surely proved that those seeds don't mean anything. It's one game at a time. And on this road to victory, several Tigers were recognized for outstanding individual achievement. David Lira, William Vasquez, and David Garcia were all named to the Division I All-City team. Can you raise your hands, please? All right. Hopefully they'll be playing for the Dodgers, and the Dodgers will be in good shape. Impressively, David Lira and William Vasquez were both selected Division I Co-Players of the Year by City Section Baseball Coaches Advisory Committee. Congratulations again. We want to thank Coach Armando Gomez because he earned the highest coaching honor as the LA Times Coach of the Year. Congratulations. Coach Gomez has been coaching at San Fernando High School for the last 15 years. Prior to coaching, Coach Gomez had been a collegiate baseball player himself at San Diego State as well as California State Dominguez Hills. Fortunately for the Northeast San Fernando Valley, Coach Gomez has been coaching at San Fernando High since 1996, and he's never looked back. Coach Gomez expressed that he and his team have been overwhelmed by the number of phone calls and recognition by unknown supporters. He was quoted as saying that I've been here 15 years and I thought I knew everybody, but people I've never heard of have been calling to congratulate me and the kids. We want to congratulate Coach Gomez for this incredible championship, this incredible honor for San Fernando. I played baseball till I was 27, and my local team was at Pacoima Park, better known as Gonzalez Park. Well, it's better known as Pacoima Park, but it's Gonzalez Park. That was my home team. And the last year I played, I was 27 years old, and we won the championship. And I'll never forget that moment of victory and how much it meant. The reason I quit playing baseball was because Mayor Bradley appointed me to serve as his deputy, and I didn't want to take away from the team. And I wanted to contribute more to Mayor Bradley. But baseball is not just about sports. It's about teamwork. It's about coming together through good times and bad and working through your issues, and that's exactly what you accomplished. Both of these teams deserve enormous amounts of credit. Congratulations, San Fernando Tigers. And with that, I'd like to have Tony make additional comments.
Thank you very much. I just want to once again congratulate the young people for their tremendous efforts in proving that they can actually feel a dream, see a dream, and then live the dream. To be a champion in baseball, to be a championship team is hard to do, especially when you have that powerhouse Chatsworth High School in Councilmember Greg Smith's district. He's had the honor of honoring them in council over and over and over again. But as reading the notes here, many of the baseball players at San Fernando High School are going to return next year. So look out, Chatsworth and any other team. I think we might have our own dynasty on our hands. What do you think? Yeah, you better believe it. You better believe it. One thing that I want to also point out is, in my last words, I didn't mention enough about the coaches and the parents who support these young people. I just want us to take an opportunity to give a hand to every coach at every one of our high schools. Mr. Gomez here, the coach of the baseball team, just shared with me. I asked him, I said, I know it's a little stipend that they pay the coaches. Yeah, they only pay them about $2,000 to coach for the entire year. So that probably comes out to about 25 cents an hour. They're not doing it for the money. They're doing it because they love the kids. They're doing it because they know that our children are diverse. They know that some kids might be good at this and some might be good at that. But unless some adults step up and dedicate their time at 25 cents an hour, or whatever it comes out to, these young people just might not live a dream. They just might not realize how good they can be and how much fun they can have in life. So I'd like us all to give a hand to all the coaches. I'll keep my comments brief, and as a San Fernando Tiger alumni, I'd like to make sure that I give an opportunity to two elected officials who are alumni from San Fernando High School who are standing with us to perhaps say a few words. Let's go first. Nuri Martinez is our school board member, also school board member representing San Fernando High School, and she's responsible in part for them getting their academic scores up.
Well, thank you very much. It is a pleasure to be here this morning. I am a proud San Fernando High School graduate and alumni and a proud product of LAUSD. Thank you to both Councilmember Alarcon and Tony Cardenas for this beautiful honor this morning. I think too often we don't get to share the victories in our community, and too often we get depicted in a negative way. And this really brings a lot of hope and a lot of tremendous joy to not only honor San Fernando High School's academic program with the baseball championship, but also their tremendous effort to reach the state finals for the academic decathlon. This really speaks volumes of what's happening at the high school. And you're absolutely right, Councilmember. This group of young people are not only making it happen outside of school in their extracurricular activities, but the school has grown 50 points in API last year, and that's a tremendous gain. So things are happening at our schools, and I am just so proud to not only have been there at the championship to share the victory, with 3,700 other fans that were at Dodger Stadium that afternoon, but to also celebrate the academic achievement of the school. Thank you very much for this honor, and thank you very much for recognizing the achievement of our young people.
You don't need an introduction.
Good morning, everybody. A lot of you asked when I first walked into Chambers this morning what I was doing here. The original plan was to come and brag about an on-time state budget. That ain't happening. But I too will try. I too will try to be brief because I think that both the students and athletes, students that are standing behind us are waiting for their moment in the sunshine here. But as a proud graduate of San Fernando High School, go Tigers! I wanted to come and be part of this celebration as well because I think the students standing before you represent some very, very important messages about our community, but about the city of Los Angeles. I'll start with the academic decathlon team. You know, improving public education in this city has been a conversation for a long, long, long time. I had the pleasure and honor of going to the state academic decathlon competition in Sacramento. I ran out of the Capitol, went over to the Memorial Auditorium to say hi to the group as a whole, but to brag about the 11 schools from LA Unified and the tremendous delegation from the Valley specifically, including my alma mater, San Fernando High School. So for the people who suggest that good schools, quality schools, high-performing schools just may not be possible or is just too tough to get to in certain neighborhoods in our city, in our state, we're proving them wrong. It is not just, with all due respect, the El Caminos of LA Unified that can do exceptionally well academically. It is the San Fernandos and everywhere in between. So I want to thank the students for reinstilling in our community leaders' minds that everybody has the potential to succeed and to excel, and we need to equally invest in all students, in all schools, in all communities of the city. Congratulations, and Councilman Alarcon, George Lopez can, I don't think, buys rings for the academic decathlon team. It's medals, right? You guys get medals, not rings. And some of you brought a number of medals back from the state competition. And to the baseball team. I, too, had a chance to play baseball in the class of 90. We lost the game to go to Dodger Stadium, and I came back from college my freshman year to see some of my teammates win the championship in 1991. So I feel a little bit of a connection to a championship. That was the last time San Fernando won a championship. We're contributing, though, because the last 39 out of 40 city baseball championships have been won by Valley teams. The Valley is the hotbed for baseball in the city and the region. And while schools like Chatsworth and El Camino and a couple of others seem to be like the Yankees in terms of their historical dominance, this team proves that not just academically, but athletically, we may be from a community with not equal share of resources, but we can do it too. And another lesson for the elected leaders. While we fight for our share, for our fair share of services, programs, and resources, we're not going to let that be an excuse for not reaching our potential. That's what this group of young men demonstrated on high school ball fields throughout the region and at Dodger Stadium a couple of weeks ago. Against the best of the best, against the best finance, those with personal trainers and coaches and equipment, they beat the top-ranked teams to get there and the top-ranked team to bring the championship home to the Northeast San Fernando Valley. Go Tigers, we're proud of you.
Okay, so we have, finally, we'd like to present the resolutions to the academic decathlon team and to the coach. I wanted to point out that to my chief of staff that the frames were contributed by Tony Cardenas, and don't worry about our budget. But we want to thank the team. First to the baseball team. Congratulations, San Fernando High baseball team. And second, the San Fernando High School Academic Decathlon Team. And we have certificates for all the participants that we will distribute in the press room. Finally, just let me say that the San Fernando has a tremendous legacy of leadership. I want these kids to understand that this isn't just a recent thing. The likes of Andre Crouch, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, who resides in Oakland and represents that area, graduated from San Fernando High School. Of course, you know about Anthony Davis and Manford Moore and all the USC grads that emerged out of San Fernando High School. These kids are the future leaders of our community, and we are so proud of them today. But we also want to challenge them to continue to do the same, continue to contribute to your community, and we will make a better place in which to live. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, and appreciate the success at San Fernando High School. For a very special short presentation, Mr. Council Member Krikorian.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm pleased to recognize that we are being joined today by 44 students in the 4th and 5th grade, as well as members of the Student Council from Saticoy Elementary School, who are here with us in the back. If you can just stand up and wave. And they're joined by their teachers, Ms. Sanchez, Ms. Aguilera, Ms. Anaya, and their extraordinary and visionary principal, Roger Avila, who are here with us today. Okay. Welcome, kids. Good to have you with us in City Hall. And if I may, Mr. Smith, I'm also joined today by my newest assistant here in the council, my son Andrew, who's with us here today and graduating from kindergarten today. So it's good. Thank you. Waving. Wave. Wave. You're on TV. You're on TV. See? Look. You're on TV.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's open the roll, please, before we go to the next presentation.
Alarcon, Cardenas, Hahn, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Smith, Wesson, Zine, Garcetti, 11 members present and a quorum, Madam President.
All right, what's our first item of business?
Approval of the minutes.
Ms. Hahn moves, Mr. Koretz seconds.
Commendatory resolutions.
Mr. Rosendahl moves, Mr. Weezer seconds.
Items 1 through 8 are items for which public hearings have been held. There's request to continue item 4 to Wednesday, June 22nd.
That'll be without objection.
And Department of Building and Safety reports that item 1 can be received and filed in as much as the item has been paid.
Okay. Do we need to open the roll on that one then?
No, when you do the whole group, you can do.
Okay. Members, are there any specials? Any specials? All right. Let's open the roll on the remaining items. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next item.
Items 9 through 15 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration. There's request to continue item 10 to June 21st.
All right, that'll be without objection. 10 is continued. Next item. Any specials, members? All right, open the roll on the remaining items, please. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next item.
President, the next items will be the special agenda. Do you wish to go to special agenda, or do you wish to go to a general public comment?
Why don't we take a break and go back to this? We have one more presentation, and then we will take care of the rest of our matters. So the next presenter is Mr. Rosendahl.
It's so nice to be able to look up to people in this chamber here that are bigger and taller than I am. Well, the basketball was passed to me by Tom Labange, and since we're doing a lot of different sports stuff today, I want to introduce you to a major new moment in our great city. It shows the dynamic relationship between the private sector and the public sector, especially in this day and age as we're dealing with budgets every minute of every day and cash flow. To see the private sector come up with an idea, bond it with the public sector, and win. What happened was a basketball game was played in Venice Beach against New York, and we won. Come on, Earl. Come on up here, too. We want you, too. You're a tall guy. I know you're a basketball player. It's called the People's Game. So let me describe it a little bit, folks. The People's Game is a new sports concept that provides an opportunity for the common man and woman Ms. Hahn, gentlewoman, to represent their family, neighborhood, and city in sports competition against rival cities. The program launched with a basketball competition between the city of Los Angeles and New York, the Big Apple, and is in a partnership with the city's Department of Rec and Park. In March of this year, open tryouts were conducted at 6 recreation and park facilities throughout the city. A team of 20 players were selected, representing the diversity of Los Angeles, and the practices were held during the month of April. On May 8th, Team Los Angeles beat Team New York City in the inaugural game that took place at Venice Beach. Yes, Venice Beach. The final score was 59-55. 2 days later, on May 10th, Team Los Angeles again beat Team New York, this time in New York's Union Square, by a final score of 58-55, thus capturing the first ever People's Games Championship. I love to say great, 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 great. I don't get much of a chance these days, but when I get a chance when something's great, it really just comes right out. Well, we got the founders here, Armin Bernstein, who's the founder and chairman. We got Terry Gastro, the founder of the People's Games, and we have Coach Lucius Allen here. But I'd like to just do a quick intro of Barry Sanders, the man with the bow tie, who is the chairman of the board of Rec and Park, who will talk a little bit about the program, and then we'll have John Muckrey talk a little bit, and then we're going to show a little video on it, and then we're going to hand out a couple of awards and have a few words said.
Fine.
Mr.
Thank
Sanders.
you very much. John, come with me too.
Come on up.
Okay.
Right together.
This is a fine example of what we've all been talking about, that our city and our Recreation and Parks Department in particular can do its work only through partnerships. And this is one of the earliest manifestations of the excellent work of Assistant General Manager Vicki Israel as their new head of our partnership division in the newly reorganized Recreation and Parks Department. This program, the People's Games, first came to our attention with a phone call from Terry Jastrow, one of the 2 founders, to me because I first met Terry 25 years ago. And let me talk about Terry and about the other founder, the chairman, who is Armin Bernstein. Terry has been the executive director, producer, and/or director of some of television's most prestigious sporting events over the last 25 years. He's the winner of 7 Emmy Awards. He's produced or directed 6 Olympic Games, including the opening and closing ceremonies for the 1984 Olympics, Super Bowl 19, Indy 500s, the Kentucky Derby, and 68 of golf's major championships, including the British and U.S. Open. He's the commissioner and executive producer of the People's Games. He's also here with his distinguished wife, Ann Archer. Armin Bernstein. Armin Bernstein is the award-winning producer, director, and screenwriter who has produced over 50 movies, including Hurricane, Spy Game, 13 Days, and For Love of the Game, just to mention a few of them. Armin is also co-founder and chairman of Beacon Pictures, which currently produces the hit television show Castle on ABC. As the founder and chairman of the People's Games, it's his vision that made this accomplishment possible. Also, I want to mention, very importantly, Lucius Allen, the team head coach. Lucius Allen is a 2-time NCAA basketball champion at UCLA under Coach Wooden. He was a first-round NBA draft choice, a member of the 1971 NBA World Champion Milwaukee Bucks, 10-year NBA career, and former member of the LA Lakers as part of that career. He's the head coach for the team, and he's joined by his wife, Dr. Kay Allen. The assistant coach, who is not here today, is Eric Cooper, Cal High 2011 State High Coach of the Year, head coach of Laverne Lutheran 2-time state high school basketball champions, coached in both the WNBA and ABA, a former player under Coach Lute Olson at the University of Arizona, and he was assistant coach. And you may all know his brother, Carl, who's an executive with the Recreation and Parks Department. And then very importantly behind me, as the council member said, are the team members, the people who actually, the important people here, the people who did it, the people who won. And if anybody thinks that LA needs to hang its head in shame about basketball this year, the People's Games can correct that misimpression. John, do you want to say a word or two and then run the tape?
Thank you, my commission president and a good friend of mine. It's always difficult when you follow Bill Rosendahl and the commission president speaking. But each one of you and the sitting council members has asked me individually and as a council collectively to look out and seek out partnerships that enhance both the vision of the Department of Recreation and Parks and actually provides a financial backing to do more things. We can't do it alone, and I've said that many times. So when Terry Jastrow came, made a phone call, I thought it was brilliant. A brilliant idea. Bring it to LA. Showcase our municipal recreation parks facilities, and that's what we did. The open tryouts were done in our recreation facilities. They were done with the citizens of LA. Each one of these team members came from various parts of LA, and they came together as individuals. They're leaving as a championship team of the inaugural games. I want to thank Terry and Army for bringing this to my attention. And it wasn't just because I wanted to meet Ann Archer, which I've always wanted to do, but it was because I think this is the future. And you're going to hear more about this after we run the tape and the vision as we're going forward. But again, it started in LA. It started with an idea, and we made it happen. So, Lisa, let's run the tape, and then we'll hear from the real movers and shakers of this event.
Hello, I'm Antonio Villaraigosa, mayor of the great city of Los Angeles. I'd like to call attention to the announcement of a new and exciting sports competition called the People's Games. The People's Games will provide an opportunity for citizens of our city to live out a dream by playing in big-time sporting events against other cities. For my friend Mayor Bloomberg in New York City, I'd like to say I'm sorry, but you're about to finish second in a two-city event.
Lucius and I have had a lot of competition against each other. But the thing in a nutshell is that I've always won.
This is the one that matters most. Los Angeles versus New York. You all think you're the best. We know we're the best, and we're coming at you.
And then you slide, and then you just play the spoons, and then it just become a great representation of a New York City product. I got diagnosed with cancer when I was in high school, and I was always raised to be real positive. To be on the team, represent New York City would be a great feat.
They showed me how to shoot like this.
My relationship with him is to spend as much time with him as possible. I feel like I have a responsibility to show him the right path.
Huge dunk for Donald Lee.
I'm happy to be a dad. I'm happy to be a husband. So I'm making time to play ball and have time with my family.
Oh, he's talking to him in Spanish.
Beautiful shot from Emmanuel Martinez.
I'm also a father of a 2-year-old son and a husband. My son will love it. He's got this obsession with basketballs right now. He's only 2. I'd have something on tape to show him, to encourage him. Heck, Dad, he always loved the game, and he got to play in this game. And I got to see him do that. Some inspiration or something.
I love you. She's my inspiration.
Made me so proud, and I'm so happy.
We're behind the 4-1? Yeah. So that's my number, 410.
Thank you. I'm going to do my best. Okay.
I asked my foster parent, I said, how can I repay you for what you've done for me? He told me to do it for someone else. Love you, Mama.
Let's go out here and represent Los Angeles. That's right, baby. People's Games on 3. 1, 2, 3.
What a fantastic video, and I hope it gave you all in the listening public some of the flavor of what we do in recreation parks. I'd be remiss to say that we did things different in LA than what was done in New York. We did this all within the Department of Recreation and Parks. We did everything with our own staff, working with the sponsors. We didn't pay one nickel of public money. This was all reimbursed by these wonderful people behind me. New York did it a little differently. They actually hired an event coordinator to do their team, their outreach. So I want to let you know this is an LA thing.
Okay. Let's give him a round of applause for saying that, okay? I love the lines of stay positive and engage and bring the family in, especially the 2-year-old. I thought that was really cute. Oh, let's have some comments now from the folks here. All of you, come on up.
Thank you very much, Councilman Rosendahl, and thank you for the council. When Army and I decided to try to live out this dream of creating the People's Games, we thought, as we live in Los Angeles, we thought the way to do it was to create a relationship with the city, not knowing exactly how to do it. We had the great good fortune to be introduced to Councilman Barry Sanders by a mutual friend. And Barry, you know, when you have a dream and you have to try to articulate it, you begin to wonder whether it will resonate with people. And I will never forget in our early conversation explaining the People's Games, and you said, I got it, I think it's beautiful, and I think it works, and I think it's something for the city of Los Angeles. And I also will never forget a beautiful moment in the life of the People's Games when you said, if you really want to get this done and right and quick, you got to go meet and talk to Vicki Israel. And in that way, and I found myself 5 minutes later talking to Vicki Israel, and along with John Muckery and their beautiful staff, it's extraordinary. I think it's like a textbook example of how terrific a partnership can be between the public and private sector. And we worked with Vicki Israel and Mike Harrison and all of John's staff beautifully. And as was mentioned, all of the tryouts took place in the city of Los Angeles Park and Rec facilities, Rec and Park facilities, 6 locations, all the practices. The games, after all, were at Venice Beach. It's a true partnership that worked beautifully. And we actually thanked so much the Rec and Park. And I have to tell you that Vicki Israel was so central to this. Our nickname for her is she's the godmother of the People's Games, because she actually helped give it birth. So I'd like to turn it over to my friend and colleague who was actually the inspiration for the idea initially, my friend Army Bernstein.
Terry, thank you very much. I'll be brief. I want to thank the City Council for honoring us today, but I want to take that honor and give it to all the people who are standing behind me. I was born and raised in Chicago, and I've been living in Los Angeles for over 30 years, making films and television series. And in all that time, I always felt like I was from Chicago and I was working here. But that all changed when we began to do the People's Games, because I began to meet the people who actually run this city and run it really well. Some of the best people that I've ever met. And what they did is they changed my heart in a way that made me feel that this town was my hometown. And it's been very touching to me to be able to have that feeling. There are so many people who we could run through, from Mayor Villaraigosa being so supportive to Deputy Chief Earl Pazinger, who just left, but I acknowledged him anyways. I think that what we've done here is something that is just beginning. I do believe that in the years to come, the People's Games will be as well known as any sporting event in the United States. We are already talking about taking it to 8 cities in the United States, and then 16 and then 24 cities, and talking to a network about it being a reality show. I think what's exciting about all of this, really, though, is what it's like to get out of our neighborhoods, meet people from other neighborhoods, travel around this city, meet people who are really, really quite beautiful in their generosity and in their support. I'm very, very honored to have my children here today. Got them up early, even though it's summer, and I wanted them to come and see this great city and how it works. The most important person in the games that we have actually decided Terry and I, is our friend Lucius Allen. And I wish that you could actually have been a part of the gathering together of the team and the tryouts, because what you would have seen if you were Terry, like Terry and I, is how certain that New York was that this would be really easy. I love it. That they would have, this would be like a no contest. We are New York City, and we are basketball, and I don't even think that they had any real thought about us, except that, you know, how bad would they beat us. And what they did is they underestimated the city. They underestimated the young men who can play ball as good as any players in the country, and they really underestimated the best coach in the world, Lucius Allen.
Thank you, Army. Thank you, Terry. I, number one, want to thank the City Council for this honor for us to be here. Without you two guys, this never would have happened. And for me, it really put me in contact with some of the greatest individuals that anybody can want to come in contact with. I'm a tough taskmaster. I learned from the best. Coach Wooden, we knew that if we worked hard and did our best, good things would happen. And I have to say that this team reached competitive greatness. For those of you all who don't know, that's the top of the pyramid of success. They reached competitive greatness in 6 weeks. There were 500 or more people that tried out for this game, and these guys were the cream of the crop. They were great individuals because they had the integrity. They weren't walking around with their pants hanging down. They weren't walking around with tattoos. They weren't taught. These were very, very credible people that I got a chance to work with. And I'm so blessed that you guys allowed me this opportunity to work with such a wonderful group of basketball players. Their skill levels are equivalent to those of professionals, even though they never played professional. And they came out and they did this all for the love of the game. And I worked them. You know, we worked every day because, as you saw in the video, Earl Monroe is correct. He beat me at everything. And now I have a chance. I call him every day now. I have had the chance to redeem myself, and it's because of these individuals right here. And, you know, I want to thank my family, my wife especially, Dr. Eve, for allowing me to go out and spend the time away from home that I did. And these players and their families, just as you saw, they'd come to practice, they'd bring their kids, they'd bring their significant others, some of them wives, some not. But it was a family that we formed here. And to know that these guys worked and sacrificed, they're working people. So they would go to work during the day, and then they'd come to a Lucius Allen practice at night. And it was no fun. But in the end, when we were standing in Union Square in New York City, champions, they all felt it was worthwhile. So our champions, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to represent the city of Los Angeles.
Congratulations.
There's a check that tells you all about it. It's a big check. That's the public-private partnership in action, folks. On the side here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rosendahl. All right, we'll go back into the regular agenda. Madam Clerk, what's our next item? I believe we have to do some reconsideration on some items. Mr. Koretz?
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to ask that we reconsider item 2.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have some other items that we need to reconsider?
Yes, item 13, there's a card.
Okay, so we'll do 2 and 13 for reconsideration together. Items 2 and 13 are, Mr. Parks, did you have an item that you needed reconsidered?
On item 4 shows deferred, and that item needs to go back to budget and finance and bypass it on this way here.
Okay.
Item 4.
All right, we can reconsider item 4 as well. Let's open the roll on, I think it's 2, 7, and 4, 2, 4, and 7.
2, 4, and 13.
2, 4, and 13. All right. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
All right, those items are all up for reconsideration. And again, Mr. Parks, you requested that item 4 be sent back to
Budget and Finance. What appears to have occurred is this report that's on the agenda today is in response to a Budget and Finance Committee report. For some reason, that report went to HCD instead of the Budget and Finance Committee.
Okay, thank you. All right, consider number 4 referred back to Budget and Finance. All right, so now let's go back to number 2. That's before us. Mr. Koretz, number 2 is before us.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, we recently heard this item in Budget Committee, and I have to tell you I wasn't satisfied with the answers that I received from the Housing Department, and that's why I'm proposing a substitute motion that's being circulated. What we have in front of us is a request from the Housing Department to write off over $1 million in uncollectible debt. And I'm first concerned that we do everything we can to collect monies owed to the city, but my larger concern is not necessarily these past debts, but what have we learned? How have we improved, and how can we guarantee that monies owed the Housing Department are collected in the future? During the Budget Committee discussion on this item, we had a good discussion, and I know there are challenges for the Housing Department. A small staff to handle billing for a large number of customers, constant changes in who owns apartment buildings, who is responsible, and who pays. While I understand these challenges, at the end of the day, we can't make excuses for ourselves. We need to improve our collections, period. During our discussions, I asked the department about filing liens or other collection methods for this debt. We were told that liens were impossible because these receivables are small and numerous. The report, however, notes that it is the amounts over $5,000 that even require council approval. When I talked to Building and Safety, I found that they were able to file 214 liens per year at amounts as low as $300 and average only around $2,200 per lien, even when you factor in a few very large liens. Housing could learn from this positive collections example. We need to look at liens and aggressive early techniques for these receivables. The fact of the matter is other departments do a good job on collecting small debts, and we need to get the same kind of performance from the Housing Department. Buried within this report on this item was a more startling number, over $15 million. That astounding number is what the department was able to write off without council approval because the individual bills were all $5,000 or less. This simply should not continue this way. If the codes need to change, let's change them. But if the bill is for an apartment building, it should not be so difficult to recover the funds from the owner, or they should face a lien against the property. I think that the department needs to take a better look at this. I think our core group was set up for revenue issues and needs to review this. And not until we have an acceptable strategy for improvement should we be permitting this debt write-off.
All right, thank you, Mr. Koretz. Mr. Parks?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Koretz, I think one of the things I'd like to bring your attention to is number 2, when you say reject their write-off. The one thing I think that is clear that we dealt with in Budget and Finance was that there were a number of issues that need to be resolved, and that's why instruction number 3 was added to ask Housing to explore various methods to improve the department's collection efforts and report back to, those recommendations. If you reject the write-off, these have gone through every aspect of the city's collection. They've gone through the department. They've gone through outside collections. Many of them are outside the statute. And if you delay them, you will limit the ability of the having this debt sold so that we cover even if it's pennies on the dollar. So this is not, this 1.2 million is not on the front end of the collection. It's on the very tail end, years behind when the debt was created. And so I think on your motion 2, you pretty much, on items 3, 4, and 5, you pretty well capsulized in more detail what we were striving to do on instruction 3 of the committee report. But if on your item 2, if you reject it and hold it, there are no other recourse on those dollars, and it will just merely delay selling the debt.
Mr. Koretz?
I'd be willing to amend this to remove item 2 from my motion. The main reason for this motion was the fact that we were able to look at some of our other departments and find out that the amount that they said was too problematic to collect in liens was done perfectly well by other departments. So I think since my greater concern is that we don't continue to do this in the future and that we direct this to CORE for analysis, I'd be happy to take that as a friendly amendment, remove item number 2 in this motion, and just pass it with the remaining clauses in the motion.
I think 3, 4, and 5 will get you exactly what you need on the prospective side.
All right.
That is correct. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Koretz and Mr. Parks. So number 2 within that motion will be removed, and 3, 4, and 5 are acceptable to both parties. So with that, let's open the roll, close the roll, and then tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
All right, thank you very much. Just so I can let the folks who are here on item number 7 know, we did pass item 7 on consent, but out of consideration for your patience, I'd like everyone to know that you are here and that you were here to testify today. So I'm going to read your names into the record. Deborah Suh from the Center for the Pacific Asian Family, Tulin Smiley Women's Shelter of Long Beach, Toby Quintiliani, 736 Family Crisis Center, Debbie Nelson, 1736 Family Crisis Center, Cecilia Walker, Angel Step Inn Domestic Violence Shelter, Sarah Bodine, Executive Director for Haven Hills, Doug Draper from Haven Hills, Arnold Sachs, Tulin Smiley from the Women's Shelter of Long Beach, Cecilia Walker, Angel Step Inn Domestic Violence Shelter, Deborah Suh again. Okay. Thank you very much for your patience here today. And again, item 7 went through on consent. Thank you. Next item, ma'am.
Item 13, call special for cards.
All right. Arnold Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Arnold Sachs. You know, this item you also passed on consent, but then you had to reopen legislation because there was a card put in. You could have reopened public comment on item number 7 also for 10 people that came down here to talk. But my question regarding item 13 is the transfer and appropriation from the the Transportation Neighborhood Traffic Mitigation Fund, because on this 8th, you had funding from the West Los Angeles Transportation Improvement and Mitigation Program. These mitigation programs and these funds and these accounts that you have boggle the mind. The funding for the West Los Angeles Transportation Improvement and Mitigation Program came from Measure R funding. So why wasn't the Transportation Neighborhood Traffic Mitigation Fund Measure R funding? And again, it's repairs of sidewalks. Maybe that has something to do with it. So why isn't it CRA funding? Because CRA is funding repairs for sidewalks in the Grand Avenue project. So maybe it's not a CRA project area, but if not a CRA project area, maybe it's a neighborhood council project area, or maybe it's a neighborhood business improvement project area, or maybe it's a neighborhood property improvement project area. There's so many different accounts. It would be nice to get a legitimate reasoning from some sitting council member. And again, thank you for not reopening or not giving the opportunity to the public to speak on item number 7.
All right. Any members in the queue? Mr. City Attorney?
Just for the record, on item number 7, an opportunity to speak was held in committee.
Just for clarification, for those who are listening, the opportunity for folks to speak on item 7 was held in committee. Thank you for that clarification, Mr. City Attorney. So, Madam Clerk, if you would please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
All right, next item.
Madam President, at this time, you could either recess to the special meeting or take up general public comment.
All right, we have completed all the items in the regular meeting then?
Yes.
Okay, great. Why don't we recess the general meeting, and then we will come back to the regular meeting for public comment.
Okay, to call the roll. Alarcon, Cardenas, Hahn, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Smith, Wesson, Zine, Garcetti. 11 members present and a quorum, Madam President.
All right, Madam Clerk, what is the item before us?
Item 16 is an item for which public hearings have been held.
Any member wishing to call this special? All right, open the roll on that. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next item.
Items 17 and 18 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
Members, any specials? Items 17 and 18. Mr. Cardenas has called 18 special. Thank you.
And Madam President, there are cards on item 17.
All right. Those items will be special then. Next item.
That would be either item 17 for call special for cards.
Okay. So we're going to start with 17 then. 17's up first. All right, great. All right, we'll take the cards on 17. Loren Handsome, Wilma Frazier, Janice Watkins, you, Loren?
Hello, my name is Lauren Handsome. I'm a student at the Watts Towers Arts Center, and I'm coming to represent as one of the persons. I am against the skate park. I will say that it's not good for the community. It's a disturbance to the area for the people that live there and for the towers, because there will be an increase in gang violence and etc.
Ms. Frazier?
Good morning, Madam President. I am a community member. I've been in the community for over 24 years, and I'm here to speak against the conveyance or the transfer of the property that's the Cultural Crescent. I myself, I know that there are at least 3 skateboard parks in our community within a 1-mile radius. And we're in opposition of the skateboard park being placed at the towers, which we understand that this land is going to be conveyed to the city for. Okay, I'm also representing a lot of homeowners because I personally stepped in front of a lot of homeowners that surround the Watts Towers, and they're in opposition of this happening there. The business owner that's on the southeast corner of 108th and Wilmington, he's also against it. He's worried about, people coming to hang out. There's going to be issues for his business. He's against that also. I just want to know, I know that we have a park that's right there at the Ted Watkins Park, and I'm wondering why can't that place be used for the skateboard park. We're not in opposition of the skateboard park, just the location, because this is a national monument, landmark. Is there someone who could answer
Ma'am,
that?
public comment is normally reserved for the time for you to speak. If you would like to speak to someone afterwards, I can arrange for you to go to the side and we'll get someone to speak to you.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. I think that was my concern so far. So thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you very much. And Janine Watkins.
It cost me a lot of money to come before you. The skateboard park, Janice, we're opposing, and we will continue to oppose. We were here in the spring of 2010 to oppose the privatization of the Art Center and the campus. But we've been privatized through the LACMA contract. It's open-ended, and we have to address that. In regards to the skateboard park, the moment you put it in, it's obsolete. I sat here today and watched all of the decathlons and all of that. In my neighborhood, we have more men and children being incarcerated. So we cannot afford the luxury of having a fourth skateboard park in our neighborhood. I know you've made a promise to the Annenbergs and to the Wasserman Group and all of that, but we stand united in protesting against this skateboard park. We need economic viability, we need cultural tourism, and we need our turn in regards to developing our community. So I canceled a flight to Oregon because I have a nephew that spent 14 years in prison in order to be here today because I almost missed it. So we will continue to come. We will have press conferences. We will protest. The skateboard park is right next to my house on 107th Street. The street has not been fixed. I have photographs for years of weeds and neglect. The towers have not been dealt with properly, and it sits, after 12 years of you being in office, it sits there, blighted. Blighted. And so we will continue to come, and I will continue to make time. I have petitions, and I will continue to sign petitions. Because the promise that you made for a $300,000 skateboard park, we had an opportunity with Trust for Public Land to do a Prop 84 or to raise funds for the Cultural Crescent to be developed properly. I sat in your office and you told me directly if we did not put that skateboard park in, the community was going to be denied that design process. And we've been denied. And we've missed 3 chances to raise $5 million for Prop 84 and for private institutions to join us with Trust for Public Land. So I will continue to come. I'd like to submit this to you.
He'll take that paper from you. Thank you very much. All right, thank you. Ms. Hahn.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, I think this is a great project. Since I've been in office, I've worked with so many issues in the community of Watts, and clearly the young people come to a Monday morning meeting on a regular basis and talk about the lack of opportunities, recreational opportunities for some of the kids in Watts. At the Watts Towers, I was able to secure funding to build the Charles Mingus Youth Art Center, a place right next to the Watts Towers where our young budding artists can find a place to come and have classes, after-school programs. And many of the kids want a skateboard park in their community. We just watched the People's basketball team and people coming together for sports and recreation and how it provides positive activity. Colleagues, one of the issues in Watts that some of you might be familiar with and others are not is gang territory. I've spent 10 years trying to keep kids out of gangs and provide after-school opportunities, job opportunities. You heard me fight every year on this council for more money for summer jobs for these communities that we represent. I have worked really hard to help raise the money to build this skate park. And right now, with the Annenberg Foundation, the Tony Hawk Foundation, we have secured all the money it's going to take to build a first-class street skate park. The reason was mentioned of certain other places. Trust me, we've looked for other places for this skate park. But we've been working very closely with LAPD and with the community on what areas are gang neutral and what areas kids can come to and feel safe skateboarding. And the Watts Tower area is one of those areas. And so we've got the money. This is a $350,000 investment into the community of Watts. It's positive, it's good. The Watts Neighborhood Council supports it. Our Watts Gang Task Force supports it. This is going to be positive, and I believe there's a connection between skateboarding and art and a cultural monument. If we can bring kids to the Watts Towers to skateboard, maybe we can get them to walk across the campus to the Art Center and take a few art classes after school. So I think this is a good place. It's a good proposal. We have vetted it through the community. We've had numerous community meetings, and this is a positive project, and I look forward to completing this project. What we're doing today, colleagues, is transferring this property to Department of Recreation and Parks. As soon as we do this, we'll be able to break ground and build the skate park and have it done hopefully by the end of the summer. Thank you.
Mr. Cardenas.
Thank you. I just want to ask you a question, if you don't mind, Councilmember Hahn. Did you ever claim that you had 100% support for this project or any project? I know I've never had absolutely 100% support for any good thing that has ever happened.
No.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank Ms. Hahn for listening to the community, hearing out people who don't like a project or would like to do something different, etc. But at the end of the day, actually investing in our children, specifically providing an opportunity for a community that needs every opportunity to make sure that our children are expending all of that energy in a very positive way. And to be able to put a skate park with a synergy nearby, something that can actually provide art classes, etc., is certainly a perfect way for us to put our money and invest in our children. Maybe this is a perfect scenario. Maybe there's a kid who's 12 years old who likes to ride skateboards. But mom says the only way that you can go to the skateboard park is you got to take your little brother Johnny, who's 9 years old, who loves to do art, drop him off at the art place right across the way, then you could go ride your skateboard. I know that's the way it was in my family. There were 11 of us kids, and we were always had to tag along, or I was the youngest, I was the tag along most of the time. There was situations where when you put things together, you can actually satisfy more issues and help people in more ways than one when you put things together like this. So I just wanted to point out, I didn't want some of the comments of people saying, I don't like this. We respect that. I do not want that to overshadow the fact that the vast majority of the people in the community are going to welcome this skate park. They're going to be glad this skate park is here. And I personally believe from the bottom of my heart that this skate park is going to save lives. Congratulations, Councilmember Hahn.
Appreciate it. Couldn't have said it better. Thank you, my friend. Let's open the roll on this item, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next item.
Item 18, called special by Councilmember Cardenas.
Mr. Cardenas. We have a number of cards, Mr. Cardenas.
Yes, we can go to public comment first, if you don't mind, Madam President.
If we can, so that everyone has the opportunity to be heard, we will set the timer at 1 minute per person so that we don't lose quorum and we're able to hear this item and discuss it today. I'll call people up 5 at a time. Ann Williams, Michael Carapella, Arnold Sachs, Doug Arsenault, and Helen Arbogast.
Good morning. I'm Ann Williams with the Central City Association. On behalf of CCA, I want to express our support for the motion put forth by Council Members Cardenas and Parks. Red light safety cameras are an important tool for law enforcement to have access to keep our roads safer. The LAPD reports that at the 32 intersections being patrolled by the cameras, traffic collisions actually decreased by 62%. Moreover, we all know from experience that there's a certain immeasurable effect from the existence of red light cameras in our city. They create a greater overall awareness, and they simply make people drive more cautiously. In addition, red light cameras are essentially a form of automated policing. The LAPD estimates that it would take 150 officers at a cost of nearly $30 million per year to provide this kind of continuous coverage of these 32 intersections. Shouldn't we be looking for more ways in which to leverage technology to improve public safety while at the same time saving money? Red light cameras are a force multiplier. CCA sees no downside in supporting a program that enhances road safety and costs the taxpayers nothing to
Thank
operate.
you. Michael Carapella.
Thank you.
Arnold Sachs is next.
I have never received a red light ticket in this city or any other, and I've never spoken before to City Council. I'm not sure what I can accomplish in 1 minute, but I'm opposed to the continuance of that process, and I'm not sure any statistics or facts would be compelling to Mr. Cardenas or anyone else, but I grew up in an era where we believed that violence was caused by watching Tom and Jerry, and that was due to a flawed report and a flawed evaluation of that report, and we all know it's not true. We know you can't catch a cold by being out in the cold, and we know that red light cameras do not improve safety. We know there's better ways to improve safety. If it was profitable and the council said, look, it's a good way for the city to raise funds, irrespective of a safety issue, I wouldn't agree, but I would say, okay, to the extent that it's not profitable, it's unimaginable to me why it would continue. Thank you.
Arnold Sachs.
Yes, thank you. It seems to be the problem with this, amongst many things, is the fact that the funds from red light tickets aren't being adequately collected. And the problem with that is that state legislation, if you don't sign a ticket, you're not making a requirement, you're not making a promise to appear in court. And since red light camera tickets don't have a signature on them, there's no promise being broken. That's why courts can't enforce that part of the failure to appear, which then would be relayed onto the DMV. That being said, has the council checked in other cities that have other red light camera program to see what the collection rate is in those cities and how they're managing their program? That being said, what about the delayed red lights in all 4 directions? That'll cost more money. It seems like the council is leading from behind as per usual.
Doug Arsenault. After Mr. Arsenault is Helen Arbogast, and then Adam Beck.
Thank you, Councilwoman. On behalf of the Valley Industry and Commerce Association, representing more than 350 businesses that serve millions of customers, I come before you today to express my support for Councilmember Cardenas' and Parks' motion. The Board of Police Commissioners and certain council members seem to believe we cannot afford to have red light safety cameras. VICA believes we cannot afford not to have them. While no one likes to get a ticket, red light safety cameras change driver behavior. The inconvenience of a fine for breaking the law pales in comparison to the economic and social costs that result from collisions caused by careless red light running. Over the last 9 years, more than 200 people have been killed at intersections in LA. Of note, none of these 200 were killed at intersections monitored by red light safety cameras. Throughout the world, and for that matter, the world, cities that utilize red light safety cameras have seen fewer injuries and fatalities result from red light running. According to the Federal Highway Administration, the cost exceeds $5 million from fatalities and injuries resulting. Thank you.
Helen Arbogast, Adam Beck, Bose Andusi,
Madam Chair.
Jennifer Roerig. All right, Ms. Arbogast.
My name is Helen Arbogast with Children's Hospital Los Angeles. We come representing Children's Hospital Los Angeles and the more than 65,000 children that we serve annually. In addition, we are a Safe Kids Los Angeles West location. Motor vehicle crashes and pedestrian injuries are the leading number 2 and 3 mechanisms of injury for children. We are here today to support the motion of Councilmember Parks and Cardenas in regards to the red light cameras. While we understand that there is room for improvement on the cameras, we cannot negate the fact that there are over 676 people killed in 2009 in running red lights. Over 200 of those were here in California. Our motive here is to really keep children from ever entering our doors at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. We look to opportunities like the red light running cameras to monitor people that are driving recklessly too fast, to slow them down and to minimize injury. So we ask for your support in that motion. Thank you.
Mr. Beck.
Good morning. My name is Adam Beck, and I am a concerned citizen of the City of Los Angeles, and I actually live in Councilmember Koritz's district. I was very distressed to learn of the recent LAPD Commissioner's Board of Commissioners decision to terminate the City of Los Angeles' red light photo enforcement contract. I live and work within these city streets, and I drive these city streets each and every day, and I have witnessed firsthand the way that these cameras do, in fact, save lives. Without the help of the LAPD and innovative technology that these cameras provide, my family and our lives would be in jeopardy each and every time we pulled out of the driveway. So I urge each and every one of you to please vote in favor of a continued photo red light enforcement contract within the City of Los Angeles. Thank you.
Bose Anduusi and Jennifer Rehorig.
Good morning, Council. My name is Bose Adewusi, and I live in the city of Northridge in Councilmember Smith's district. I'm here today to show my support for the motion that is brought forward by Cardenas and Parks. I'm not sure if all of you are aware, but someone runs a red light every 20 minutes. And I'm here to reiterate what Controller Gruhl stated in her audit, which was for the city of LA, which was no fatalities were reported at monitored intersections since the implementation of the contract in 2006. So a cost of $2.6 million in 2 years is nothing compared to the lives saved in that time frame from reckless driving. We cannot put a price on human life. Taking the cameras down would just be a slap on the wrist for lawbreakers not going to work. For lawbreakers, and it's not going to work when people's lives are at stake. I don't want any of my friends or family members being the victim of a driver who has no regard for the law. So I beg each and every one of you council members to keep these cameras up in the interest of your citizens' safety. Thank you.
Jennifer?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Rehorig. I'm an account manager with American Traffic Solutions California, assigned to the City of Los Angeles in their photo red light program. I've worked in photo enforcement for over 10 years because I believe in the technology and see each and every day how we are changing driver behavior. We, LAPD, LADOT, and myself, have worked hard the past 5 years saving lives and reducing accidents with photo enforcement in the City of Los Angeles. We've all heard the stats. We've heard them over the past several months. No need to repeat them. I am here today to encourage you, the City Council, to move forward with this motion and work together towards making the red light enforcement program more successful than what it is today. Thank you so much for your time.
Ray Pedroza, Charles Torito, Fahad Karamat, James Dyczowski. Okay, Ray, you go first. Ray Pedrosa.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Ray Pedrosa with American Traffic Solutions California. Born and raised in the 14th Council District. I've been involved in photo enforcement for over 15 years now, here locally in Los Angeles, across the county, across the state, and nationally. These programs work. I respectfully urge the Council to consider and support the motion ahead of you today. The collections program in the City of Los Angeles is comparable to many of the other cities in the County of Los Angeles. The County of Los Angeles, the Highway Patrol, the Metro MTA programs, City of West Hollywood, Beverly Hills, and numerous other programs within the County of Los Angeles, using the same court system that you all use here today. Let's not terminate a program that is successful, that has great public safety benefits. Let's work to improve it. I urge you respectfully today to consider and support the motion in front of you. Thank you very much.
Is it Johanna Silva? And then Charles Torito.
Good morning. I'm here to support the motion of Mr. Cardenas and Parks. I grew up in the city of North Hollywood and recently purchased my first home in the city of Panorama City, and it's very Close to my heart, our community, the whole valley, and I support red light cameras. I see them in my community every day. I drive by them every day, and I'm aware that they are a good asset to our community. Everybody seems to be concerned about the financial aspect of the program, but I believe that more concern should be on the safety of my community and every district's community. Thank you.
Charles Torito.
Good morning. My name is Charles Torito, and I'm Vice President of Communications for American Traffic Solutions California. Cities throughout the country have turned to red light safety cameras because they work. Whether in Los Angeles, California, Chicago, Illinois, New York City, red light cameras change driver behavior. Opponents of red light safety cameras, like some of them here today, are not new to this industry. In fact, one of the leading opponents of the cameras, the National Motorist Association, has been opposed and has focused on undermining traffic safety measures for years. Measures like seatbelts, speed bumps, DUI checkpoints, and even child passenger restraints. So it should come as no surprise that they're also opposed to red light safety cameras. One thing that is concerning is that there's been little or no discussion about the extensive research conducted by dozens of traffic safety organizations which have unanimously demonstrated that red light safety cameras reduce accidents. Here's just a few of them right here today, and we hope that you'll take a look at these as you make your decision.
Farhad Karamet.
Hi, members of the City Council. My name is Fahad Karamat from the National Coalition of Safe Roads. I'm standing here in front of you today to ask you to keep the red light security cameras active. These cameras save lives every day, and they ensure the public safety on our biggest intersections here in Los Angeles. I myself have been in a road accident at a red light, and when I heard that these cameras would be shut off, I was so blown away by this. I mean, I just couldn't understand why City Council would vote to get rid of a service that really helps the public and keeps our roads safe. So I decided to go out and make a difference, and I'm submitting petitions here. I have about 1,015 signatures of supporters for keeping these red light cameras here. And I think you're going to find that this is overwhelming amount of support that we found. So I just request that while you guys are making your decision to keep the red light cameras in place, you think of these people that signed this petition. I'd like to submit this here today. Who do I give this to?
Thank you. Mr. One of the officers, if you could come to this gentleman at the lectern and take his item for the official record. Mr. Dajchalski, Fariba Yakubian, Sean Piernia, and then Mike Spinnaker.
Good morning. My name is Jim DeHusky, and as it turns out, I work for American Traffic Solutions. However, I'm not up here today because I work for American Traffic Solutions. I believe in the cameras for one reason. 20 years ago, my sister was hit by an automobile that ran a red light. And I believe personally that if cameras had been at that intersection, that accident may never have occurred. And I don't know how many people have been involved in that. We speak about life and death, but we have to remember public safety doesn't always involve life and death, but also maim and injury. Thank you for your time.
Fariba Yakubian, followed by Sean Piernia, followed by Mike Spinnaker, and then we'll go to Van Nuys.
Hello, members of City Council. My name is Fariba Yakubian. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you today. I'm here in hopes that you will listen to my story and do what you can to help save other innocent lives. I lost my beautiful daughter, Dr. Bahar Yakubian, in a tragic, senseless car accident, one which could have been prevented. Bahar's professional life was just about to begin when it was senselessly cut short by someone who ran the red lights. On January 9th, my 25-year-old daughter recently graduated Doctor of Pharmacy from USC. Here is her doctor diploma, but she wasn't there to get her achievement. My Bahar was driving Santa Monica Boulevard eastbound at the intersection of Federal when an 82-year-old ill woman speeding over 80 miles passed two red lines, and the woman hit Bahar's car and also a pedestrian, causing their death. To you, these fatalities may be just numbers, statistics. To me and to other families who have lost loved ones, these are not numbers. These are real people whose lives would have been made the world a better place. Words can only attempt to paint the picture of the life that was lost, and can only begin to describe the daily struggle we endure to continue on with our lives without our loved ones. My daughter, Dr. Bahar, always strived to best in all she did. She was the top of her class in high school, SMC, was in a cross-country, and got many medals, involved in many clubs, got 4.0 student at UCLA, and graduated with honor from USC, got 2 awards from USC. Choosing a pharmacy because she wanted to help others and make a difference in their lives. As a lover of arts, Bahar studied poetry, piano, architect, in addition at her all classes. Bahar always made it a point to use her skill to help others, to make her world a better place. From simple things such as putting her love of art towards making a personalized birthday card and helping her father make sign for his business.
Thank you, ma'am. Well, I've given you more time than everyone else because of your tragedy. Okay, so you'll please have to wrap it up, otherwise I need to give everyone the same amount of time.
Okay. Bahar touched to many lives and was loved so many people. Bahar had the entire world ahead of her. That was someone who would have a difference wherever and whoever she touched. Bahar embodied the true human virtues in every choice she made. She was a saint in its true meaning for our society, with her daily altruistic acts. Saint Bahar for us and for many others whom were touched by her action. All of us lost our Bahar, and we are heartbroken.
Thank you.
Because it can help, is one of the ways can help to avoid this tragic accident.
Thank you. Fariba Hakupian, are you Fariba? All right, you're Fariba. Is Sean Pernia there? Sean Pernia?
Yes, I'm cousin of...
Are you Sean?
Yes, I'm Sean.
You're Sean Pernia?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
You have 1 minute.
1 minute, okay. I try to wrap it up in 1 minute. I got to give you some numbers. You know, every year there is 6 million car accident in U.S., 3 million injury with 2 million permanent injuries. 40,000 people die every year because of car accident. The first registration was handed over in 1905, I guess, over 100 years ago. in California. Till now, we had a lot of changes. We had bridges, we have new roads, we had cameras, we had red lights, but we cannot go back and go back in time. We need to go forward. We need better equipment. We need these red cameras. We need road bomb. We need anything that can avoid such a tragic accident. We put together a foundation under her name, baharfoundation.org. Please go to baharfoundation.org, sign up for any help you can do to avoid such a tragic accident to happen to other people.
Thank you very much, sir. Mike, thank you very much. Mike Spinnaker. Oh, Mitra.
Yes.
Mitra Spinnaker?
Yes, my name is Mitra Spindler, and I am here for Bahar, our dear lost one. I hope this council member going to make the best decision for safety of every one of us and each of us. At this time, any decision you make, I hope it's going to be for the right reason. We not only need your sympathy at this time, we also need your empathy, and we don't want this accident ever happen for any of our children. Thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to for your best decision.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we go to Van Nuys. To Van Nuys, Glenn Bailey.
Good afternoon, council members. First of all, I would observe that you could have a red light camera in every single intersection down the road. That's not going to stop an 80-year-old who is, speeding, or for that matter, anyone else of any age. The camera enforcement is for discouraging such behavior. But my main concern is the process on this. This motion was introduced on Tuesday. It should be referred to Public Safety Committee so there can be a full vetting of the issues. I listened to the Police Commission discussion and debate and the public input, the entire meeting of this. It is a complicated issue, and there are lots of issues. The Police Commission was very thoughtful in their questioning and in their decision, and I think it's wrong process-wise and transparency for this to be moved on Tuesday and then this decision being made on a Friday. It needs to be referred to Public Safety Committee for a thorough vetting when you have more than 1 minute to speak.
Thank you, sir. Jim Lissner. And then following Mr. Lissner will be Eric Walford. Is Eric Walford still present? Heather Hudson. Is Heather still present? Okay, great. And then George Ruelt and Joshua Rafofsky. Jim Lissner.
The camera company has offered you a cost-neutral clause to protect you from continued losses of money on this program. They argue that clause is legal because of a decision from Washington State. I submit that the decision from Washington State doesn't apply here. In fact, I've given you a copy of the cover sheet of it. Each of you should have it. And it says at the bottom that this disposition is not appropriate for publication and is not precedent. So basically, it's a decision about Washington State law, which isn't the same as ours, and it's not precedent and it's not published. Here in California, we have different law. Our courts have, and I gave you the decision on that, the Doherty decision. Our courts have continued to throw these contracts out as recently as May 26th in Napa. Our law is different here because our legislator expressed the spirit of the law besides just the letters of the law which Washington walked around.
Thank you very much. Mr. Walford.
Hello, thank you for this chance to speak before you today. I'm a blogger and I'm also a social activist with the arts in downtown LA and represent about 8,000 people on a personal mailing list and blog. And when we broached the subject of red light cameras, unanimously all of the people that I asked directly replied back that they hate these cameras. The concept of using inanimate technology to enforce laws on the population is disgusting to us. The military doesn't automate nuclear missiles because a human must always be involved in the system. Using automated cameras removes the human from the system. None of us want to have an automated system like this. A policeman, when he pulls you over, has the training to evaluate you as another human being, whether you are a person in need, or whether you're running from something important, or whether you're violating a law because you're running a red light.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate that. One other thing, the lady got a lot of time. Could I request that Jay Bieber have some more time to speak?
No, we got 1 minute each. Thank you, though. Heather Hudson, followed by George Rult.
Hi there, thank you. It's nice to be able to speak to you. I just want to point out to you that on my way here, I actually saw the bus with the ATS representatives and people coming off the bus. Clearly, a lot of these people work for the company and have a vested interest. I don't. I'm just a citizen. I drive in the city of LA, and what's been shown in the statistics is that by simply extending the yellow light, we can reduce accidents. As Mr. Koretz has mentioned before, this program was brought to you as a revenue base. It's losing money. We need to do the right thing, follow what the police commission said, and take that money and put it into real measures that will increase safety. Thank you very much for your consideration.
George Rult, and then following George will be Joshua Rafofsky, and then Rhodes Rigsby, and then Jay Bieber.
Good afternoon. I'm here in opposition to this motion. I was stunned to learn that Councilman Parks was behind this strenuous effort to bring this before the council today and wasting everyone's time by doing so. Using the municipal police power in the service of a private corporation to, in effect, extort, harass, and undermine ordinary law-abiding citizens is a travesty. The Police Commission has worked hard to analyze this issue over a long period of time. The system worked, and today you are trying to short-circuit that system, and it's an embarrassment to all the hardworking people, ordinary citizens, as well as police and traffic professionals who looked at this. This is not, Councilman Parks, how we should be spending our time in an era of budget cuts and difficult budget decisions. This issue has been decided at the right level, and it should be allowed to stand. And I can't believe a former traffic cop like yourself would allow machines to do the job.
Excuse me, sir, your time's up, but we need to give you an admonition that you direct your comments to the body, not to any particular individual. And for the record, I just want to make sure, were you Mr. Rult? All right, thank you very much. Joshua Rafofsky.
Hi. I'm here today as a concerned citizen of Los Angeles. I'm a technology consultant and a lover of intelligent, elegant tech. I'm also a safe, defensive driver. This is my first time speaking at any city council meeting. I'm here to speak out against the traffic cameras that have plagued our city and are not keeping drivers any safer. Often technology introduces unintended consequences, and in this case the cameras are simply not doing the job that they are promising. They're not decreasing accidents. In some cases the anxiety surrounding the cameras are actually causing them. I believe that the evidence they provide to our court system is incomplete without sufficient context to properly identify unsafe, law-breaking driving. They're not a replacement for a human policeman, and the system in place is not providing any leeway for real-world consequences and circumstances. The cameras are not preventing tragedies. I believe they've introduced a bigger one. In my own personal stories, I've heard of people flipping down a visor and avoiding their face being identified, or just not even paying the ticket. And the people that I talk to just feel it's ridiculous. They're really depressed that this has gotten as far as it has. Thank you.
Rhodes Rigsby.
Good afternoon, Council. I share one of your difficulties. I'm a politician. I'm the mayor of the city of Loma Linda. I'm also a physician at Loma Linda University. Let me share our experience in Loma Linda. We had these cameras for 5 years. 4 years into our experience, after issuing $15 million worth of tickets to a town of 22,000, that's $700 per capita in fines, we saw a 0 reduction in accidents. We decided to do something that would actually work. We lengthened the yellow lights by 1 second beyond the minimum, and the number of violations dropped by 90% the next day. 90% reduction. lengthening yellow lights 1 second. $15 million of fines from red light cameras, 0 reduction in accidents. The most popular thing you can do as a politician in this state, in my experience, is dump red light cameras. People told me...
Excuse me. Thank you, sir. Your time's up.
People tell me they'll elect me for life.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr.
Just a point of
Rosenthal.
privilege, when we get into the discussion here, I'm going to ask the mayor to come back up from his experience here to continue the conversation.
But he
with
will
us.
have to stand at the lectern if you do that.
That's cool, but
All right.
I just want to make
Okay.
that clear.
We can talk. Okay, great. Mr. Bieber?
Hi, nice to see most of you again. Not everybody is here. My name is Jay Bieber. I'm with Safer Streets LA and also the Sherman Oaks Neighborhood Council, and I'm also a member of the Pedestrian Safety Advisory Committee for the City of LA. I want to make this clear that our opposition to the cameras is not we don't want safety. We want safety. We want the city to go out there and do what's necessary in terms of the signal timing, get the officers back on the street where they can affect safety, where they can look for other types of violations or graffiti artists or whatever. You've got 6 officers that are out there that are sitting behind a desk that are issuing tickets. They should be out on the streets. We need more officers on the street protecting the citizens of the city. And this is all about funneling money to this company. That is what this whole thing is about, and everybody should recognize it. The other thing is, in the last 10 seconds, we need to take the money from this contract and put in pedestrian safety signs, bike lanes, and all sorts of other benefits to the city. In your districts, you could put in 400 pedestrian signs in a year if you don't pay this contract.
Thank you very much. Julia Rodriguez? Julia Rodriguez? She does not appear to be in the chamber. James Tootin. James Tootin.
Madam President, members of the council, thank you. I am the CEO of ATS. I wanted to clarify a few things. One is that the current collection rate over the last 5 years in this program is 64%, which is probably higher or as high as any manually issued tickets or parking tickets. There's a lot of confusion on this topic. 27% is the collection rate once they're sent to the collections agency, which is about consistent with other types of fine collections. Notwithstanding, it can be improved. We are working in Sacramento to improve this legislation that runs this, the enabling legislation behind this program across the state. And we do believe that we can simplify it, make it easier, make it administrative, and this will happen probably in the next session. I know there's support for it. We're working hard on it. We recognize that the program does save lives, it does reduce the number and severity of crashes, and it does actually pay for itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. All right, did you fill out a speaker card?
I did. Julia Rodriguez. I wasn't able to run up here fast enough.
Great. Julia
Thank you.
Rodriguez.
I understand that the members of the Commission are concerned with the cost of this program. I hope that you're considering 3 other important costs. This program has been shown to reduce collisions at the intersections. That's a huge cost to public safety. The value of the lives that have been saved as a result of this program. And the message that has been sent to drivers and citizens in Los Angeles for more than 4 years that red light running will not be tolerated. What will happen when the cameras are turned off? What message will be sent? And what is the cost of sending that message? Thank you.
Thank you very much. There are no more speaker cards. That marks the close of our public comment period on this item. First speaker in the queue is Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Madam President. When this idea first came out and I was on the West Hollywood City Council, I have to admit I thought it was a great idea. I supported it, as did our council unanimously. But I think there have been a number of years of research and information and local circumstances that make red light cameras make no sense for the city of Los Angeles currently. And I have a long list of issues to raise. The one I think is the most obvious, which doesn't have as much to do with the substances, the Police Commission voted unanimously in favor of ending this contract. There are real questions about whether or not the city can even extend this contract. The window to do it, 245, has passed. The city attorney, I believe, has advised us that the council awarded the current contract extension back in May and gives us the authority to extend that contract month to month. This is just a way to dance around the Police Commission's unanimous disapproval of this contract. As I understand it, the Commission doesn't like this apparent circumvention of the 245 process and feel that it usurps their power and their effectiveness, which I would agree it does. I certainly would ask what kind of precedent this sets for the future for the City of Los Angeles. There were a number of other questions and issues. One was the controller's audit, which found that cameras have no added benefit to public safety, and the cameras have cost us $2.6 million to operate. They will probably continue to cost us money because while there have been legal decisions outside of California, there's no indication that this permits cost neutrality and the kind of revenue generation that years ago when these cameras were first approved made them kind of a no-brainer. It seemed like you got safety and you got revenue at the same time. Well, we don't get revenue, we lose money, and it would appear very unclear that we get any public safety out of this. 77% of the tickets go unpaid because in reality the courts are not upholding this system. The Superior Court, which is queasy over robot-issued tickets, quietly chose not to issue arrest warrants or put driver's license holds on those who fail to pay the ticket. So most people are not paying them. There is a bill in the legislature, SB 29. This would establish statewide requirements for the installation and operation of traffic enforcement cameras and make it easier to contest the citations. On May 16th, this bill was approved by a vote of 36-0 in the state Senate. The bill adds several regulations that would impact the city's program. It also provides for criminal sanctions against governmental agencies that fail to comply with the new requirements. One of the problems is that it would impose that some of the tasks currently done by the contractor would be reassigned to the city, increasing staffing expenses. Our department has not calculated the extra expenses to the city at this time should they become law. There are a number of other issues. I'll press my button again.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cardenas and then Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you very much. I wasn't going to say much because one of the first things I was going to say is that due to the request of at least one of my colleagues, I'm going to ask that we put this item over until next Tuesday, even though one of my colleagues who is requesting that has already let me know that he is not in agreement with me on this item. But out of respect for him and a courtesy to a colleague, I wanted to make sure that we at least had public comment first. Since so many people came for or against or whatever their comments were, I just wanted to make sure that we had the opportunity to have public comment. So I want to thank everybody who came today, whether you agree with the motion or disagree with the motion or can't stand red light cameras or not or what have you. I want to thank all of you for participating in the public comment portion of this item. In addition to that, I wanted to make sure that we clarify that if we don't take action today, we still can take action next Tuesday by allowing ourselves the opportunity to continue to consider whether or not we will continue on a month-to-month basis the current contract and or afford us the opportunity to still hold in abeyance and allow us the authority to decide later on whether or not we want to continue the red light program on the RFP process that has already commenced. So with that, if I could ask the City Attorney Terry Martin Brown to come up, please. Thank you. If we didn't take any action today, do we still have the same ability to decide and deliberate and take an affirmative action or not on this item next Tuesday as to whether or not we can continue the current contract on a month-to-month basis and or make sure that we clarify that we want the RFP process to still be available to us to deliberate and decide whether or not we want to agree to a longer-term agreement with the winner of the RFP process?
The current contract as it stands would expire on July 31st, 2011, and if this matter was continued to be heard until next week, the proposals that were submitted in the current or pending RFP process would still be viable in that short period of time.
Okay. That being the case, we're not hindering our ability to continue to deliberate this, and I appreciate Councilmember Corrett's points that he made, but in fairness to all of my colleagues, rather than having two long debates of all of us. You all can speak if you choose to, but I'm going to curtail my comments and make my points on Tuesday when we have more members here, and also certainly a member that I disagree with on this matter, give him an opportunity to hear firsthand the debate so that we can all vote as a council. So with that, again, I want to thank all the people who came forward. I want to thank all the staff for all the hard work that you've done so far, and also I want to thank the Commission for all their hard work. We agree 99.9% of the time. Some of us don't always agree, but I respect your hard work. And also, Chief, thank you for being here, and hopefully we'll have an appropriate long discussion so that we can deliberate over this, and then the legislative body, not the appointed body, but the legislative body of the City of Los Angeles can make the decision of which it is afforded to us, and it is our responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cardenas. Thank you. And your request for continuance, we will act upon. Just a minute. Mr. Krikorian.
Well, Madam President, if the request is to continue the matter to Tuesday, I'm happy to defer my comments until then.
I thank you very much. Mr. Rosendahl.
I don't want to continue it. I want to vote no now. I have a lot of problems with this, and out of great respect to my colleague, Mr. Cardenas, it was put on as a special today. People did come today. We've spent enough time on this issue. I'd like to take part of my time right now and ask the mayor to come back up for 1 second to the mic. I've asked Transportation to send somebody here to talk about his 1 second or 2 second on the issue. Mayor, again, tell me, how many red light cameras did you have? How long did you have it in play? And again, why it didn't have anything to do with safety or accidents, and why the 1 second worked?
Well, Loma Linda is a small town, but it's an academic town, and we've got over 50% of our population are college graduates. We have 4 intersections that were involved with cameras, and there were a total of 7 or 8 approaches to those intersections that were involved. Most of the tickets that were written, probably 70% of the tickets in the entire town, were for right turn violations at one of those 4 intersections. So the cash cow was a right turn violation, and statistics show that right turn violations are seldom involved in accidents, and even more seldom involved in injury accidents. So what we did is we issued 37,000 tickets. We have a population of 22,000. One of the proponents for the cameras stated, well, the only people who don't like these are people who get tickets. Well, in 5 years, almost everybody did get tickets, and I can tell you it's not a popular thing. The towns in the Inland Empire, you may think they're the 909s.
Did it increase safety?
It did not increase safety at all. Our accident rates in the 4 intersections prior to the cameras were 64 accidents per year. The accidents after the cameras were in place were 63 accidents per year. So there was essentially a 0 reduction.
Thank you very much for that. I just wanted to make that comment, and I'm prepared to vote on the issue today.
Thank you, Mr. Rosendahl. Mr. Cardenas.
Madam President, I'd like to clarify when I spoke, it was in fact a motion to put it over till next Tuesday, which would be June 21st, if I look at my calendar.
And do you have someone to second for you, please?
Second.
Second from Ms. Hahn to Mr. Cardenas' motion. So, Mr. City Attorney, according to rules, are we to vote on the request for continuance now before proceeding?
The members who are on the queue still should be given the opportunity to speak. They could withdraw their names from consideration of talking. But after everyone speaks, then the votes are done.
All right. Mr. Alarcon, you're next.
Everybody else?
You have the option of not speaking, of course.
Well, I just want to take advantage of the city attorney who's present. First of all, if you could step forward. But first of all, just let me, not the mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, for me, just for the record, I've said this before, and I think everybody knows this is a personal issue. My son was killed in a car accident by a driver who went through a red light. I don't think these signals would have worked in that circumstance, but my vote reflects my concern for those who might find themselves in that situation if we don't have this device available for our use. I believe this increases safety, and I believe that it's not a financial issue for me. It's a personal issue, and I will support these camera systems. I do believe, though, that they need to be improved, and that there is a culture that we need to change in Los Angeles, and in particular in the San Fernando Valley, where speeding is a tremendous problem. The question I have for the city attorney is, two items in the motion ask us to direct the commission. Do we have the authority to do that? Or do they have to listen? I mean, what is it? This would be a new authority if that I wish I knew back in 1993 when I first got elected, but it's my understanding we cannot do that. So I just want to, for the purpose of clarifying.
I think more accurate language would be to request that...
No, that language is already there, but I specifically want to focus on the word direct. Does the City Council have the power to order the commission to act?
No, I don't believe you have the power to order them to act, but I think that you can request, and the term direct perhaps refers to guiding them in a particular direction, if you will, that this body
No, I don't think that's what it means. I would respectfully request, because we're on the same side of this issue, but I respectfully request that we modify that language as we move forward. Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Huizar?
Thank you. And without taking much more time on this issue, on the substance, I do have two requests to move forward for the discussion next week. Both procedural ones. The first is I'd like a request the City Attorney's Office and/or the CLA on a written analysis on Mr. Alarcon's question. I had the same question. A commission has taken action. We now are legislatively directing them to do something else. We procedurally, with our charter and our rules, et cetera, if we could get a written analysis for next week's discussion from the City Attorney's Office as to whether that is possible or not. Secondly, also from our CLA and our City Attorney's Office, I'd like to request information on whether the company that we are asking, if this motion passes, to be given an extension for up to 365 days, whether it is or is not an Arizona-based company, and if we should make an exemption in this matter, as we did as a council back when we allowed for a 90-day extension. What is the standard for allowing those exemptions? What is the criteria? Do we have that written anywhere in our previous policies when we passed the original motion to boycott Arizona? If we could have those questions answered for us before the next, in a written manner, before the next Tuesday discussion on this item. Thank you.
Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Madam President. There's many more arguments that I could make, but I want to read just some from other cities that have analyzed this issue. First, in El Monte, a comparison of traffic collisions at red flex monitored intersections versus non-red flex monitored intersections revealed that there is no statistical difference in the number of traffic collisions because of red flex monitoring. That's the police chief, Ken Weldon, in El Monte. The system appears to have little influence on the number of red light related collisions at monitored intersections. At times, rear-end collisions have actually increased. Chief Steve Adams of Upland. Initially, the red light program did change behaviors because it did lessen the number of red light violations, but over the long term, it didn't appear to lessen the number of injury accidents. Nancy Mendez, Assistant City Manager in Whittier. In Loma Linda, our gentleman that's here, the month after we lengthened the yellow light by 1 second, the number of violations that we have seen dropped by 90%. In Gardena, our research in Gardena has revealed there's no significant traffic safety impact as a result of the use of red light cameras. At almost every intersection where we have cameras, collisions have remained the same, decreased very slightly, or increased depending on the intersection you examine. When combining the statistics of all the intersections, the overall consensus is that there is not a noticeable safety enhancement to the public. That's from Chief Edward Medrano in Gardena. San Mateo Superior Court. Are we doing right by the public? It's questionable whether the trade-offs are appropriate. There's a balance there, and I don't think we found it. That's from the CEO of the San Mateo Superior Court. There are a number of cities that have looked at this. They thought it was a great idea when they began it. When they analyzed it, they recognized it's a pretty worthless system. It now costs them money. It provides no safety. It's the same circumstance here. I don't know why we have to continue fooling around with this. Our police commission looked at this carefully. They studied it. They came to the same obvious conclusion that I think we should. These cameras give us nothing except expense. There are other things we could do to change signal timing, and when those have been done in other cities, most of the violations have disappeared. So if we want to, rather than just trap people and give them a lot of expensive tickets, we need to get rid of this system, change the signal timing, and do what we need to do to protect safety without messing with people's lives, giving themselves expensive tickets, and giving us nothing in the process.
Mr. Parks? Mr. Parks?
Thank you, Madam President. Let me ask the City Attorney, when you come back Tuesday, one item that we keep hearing back and forth as to whether you can create a revenue-generating system. The last time I checked, I thought the state law does not allow you to do such in the state of California. And I would like to make sure that we have that material available of whether the systems can be timed in effect to create a revenue-generating situation.
I can answer that question today if you'd like.
Okay.
The California Vehicle Code prohibits contractual terms that would allow the city to do that.
Okay. When you say prohibit, that means you can't do it.
You can't do it.
So when we hear these stories about generating revenue and all those other things, then they would be in violation of the vehicle code.
Yes, they would be. And any terminology like cost neutral falls into that same category.
Okay. And how long has that section been in place? Do you know?
I don't know, but it's been a number of years. I don't know exactly.
Okay. If you could bring that back so when somebody says that again, we can waive it and give them the basis for that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Weston.
Thank you, Madam President and members. One of the most simple requests was made by one of our colleagues. On his motion, he says, can we hear this on Tuesday? I think that that's the least that we can do. We afforded all of the people an opportunity to speak that came from all over, and I think that it's wise that we do that. But I tell you, on Tuesday there's going to be more people, and we're going to go through this all over again. I'm not telling you I'm there or not there.
Mr. Weston, I should tell you that public comment was closed as of today, though.
Well, somebody, I get that, but you know what's going to, come on, what's going to happen on Tuesday? Somebody's going to make a request, and it's going to be, so I know technically what has occurred, but the reality of the situation is on Tuesday somebody's going to make a request, and we're going to get other public, I mean, it's going to happen. It just is, and I'm okay with that. But if he is not prepared to take up his bill today, then I think we need to vote on his request. And Mr. City Attorney, everybody who pushed their button to speak for the first time has already spoken. So I would believe, even though I'm not an attorney, that at this point in time, we should vote on the request that he made 5 speakers ago. And that's what I'm asking you. Don't help me lose, help me win.
I'm just trying to help the city win.
Well then, follow my lead.
Whether to close the debate there would have to be a motion to stop debate. And
well, he had a motion to continue, and we were ready to vote. We asked for your legal guidance. If we could vote, you indicated that the people that were on the queue needed to be afforded the opportunity to speak. And what I'm saying is everybody that was on the queue has already spoken once, and can we not vote to hear this on Tuesday? It doesn't make sense to sit up here twice.
As long as there's people still on the queue, then a member could make a motion to call the question to stop
All right,
debate.
let's see what happens next. Let's see what happens next. For the first time today, Miss Janice Hahn.
I call for the question.
Okay. Ms. Hahn has called for the question. Would you please open the roll on the call for the question? Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
9 ayes, 1 no.
Okay, the question is before us.
No.
No, the question, we need 10 votes. The question is not before us. All right. All right, we fell 1 vote short. All right, so the debate continues. We fell 1 vote short. There are 10 people present. 1 individual voted no. We needed 10 votes to pass. Mr. Rosendahl, you're our next speaker.
Yeah, I just want to read something into the record, okay? God bless everybody around this horseshoe and everything else. We have a court system that chooses not to assess penalties or pursue violations, leaving the city holding the bag with millions of dollars in citation revenue out there that remains uncollected. We have a police commission that carefully reviewed the program and was not convinced the program enhances public safety. We have yet to resolve the issue through state legislation where the city would be able to assess a lower penalty, because frankly right now it's $476, of which the city gets $148. We've been flooded with all kinds of calls recently about this, and the politics of it continues to go. So look, I'll vote to continue it as a courtesy, as Mr. Weston is saying to my colleagues, but I'm not going to get up and drag this on next week. In fact, I'm not going to get up and speak again next week. I'm going to continue to vote no, but I wanted to finish the discussion today. It was supposed to be today. The fact that we're down to a bare quorum and everybody has to run to other things, that's life. So that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rosendahl. Mr. City Attorney, Mr. Rosendahl appears to have withdrawn his objection to a continuance. Do we need to open the roll and vote on that again?
Madam President, there's still 3 people on the queue, so unless they voluntarily withdraw their names, then someone could call the question again.
Let me just go through that. Mr. Huizar, do you need to speak?
I pushed my button so I could call the question, so I'll call the question.
Okay. Mr. Huizar has just called for the question, so let's open the roll again. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
All right. 10 votes to pass. Question's been called. Matters continued until Tuesday. That date is Tuesday, the motion.
We have to vote on the motion to continue. Point of
Okay,
order.
now we have to vote on Mr. Cardenas's motion to continue, seconded by Ms. Hahn. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
That item is continued to next Tuesday, which the date for next Tuesday is
June 21st.
June 21st. And again, just for the record, public comment was closed as of today. Thank you very much, everyone. That item is continued to next Tuesday. All right. Madam Clerk, I believe we need to recess the special meeting.
Yes, Madam President, we need to adjourn the special meeting.
Okay, the special meeting is now adjourned. We will go back into the regular meeting.
General public comment would be the next item.
All right, we will now take public comment in the regular meeting. Antonia Ramirez, and Ramiro Bravo, Freddie Coronel, and Daniel Wright.
This is a matter of principle. I take great pride and honor in doing the East LA DA's office, the East LA Sheriff's Department, the FBI, the LA City Attorney's Office, the LA City Council members, the LAPD, and the LA Public Safety Committee's meeting jobs. Caveat, with the exception of the LAPD and the sheriff's raw, talented, hot mama chopper pilots. Moreover, these televised meetings are nothing more than staged, bogus shows. That's why Council members Jan Perry, Paul Krikorian, Greg Smith, and LA City Attorney's Office vehemently tried to censor me. Why? Because they have plenty to hide. Start looking in their closets, because you're going to find a lot of dirt. And I just named a few council members. It's time to clean LA. Let's start removing the aforementioned, plus the ones we didn't mention. LA citizens, help us enforce the laws by not being victims anymore, i.e., the military veterans and their families, all pilots and their loved ones, all legal law-abiding citizens, and myself, whom the LA City, County, state, and federal agencies have failed and miserably failed to protect us. Again, not taking preventative measures against harassment, violence, grand theft, vandalism, gangbanging, racketeering, money laundering, drugs and narcotics, amassing guns and weapons, fear and intimidation, bullying, extortion, bribery, welfare fraud, ID theft, false imprisonment, and malicious prosecution, etc., by these criminal illegal Latino gangbangers and their co-accomplices, the epidemic of criminal illegal aliens and their umbilical cord changos. So we're asking you not to support or fund any more of the aforementioned. We've removed the underlying culprits and restore the integrity of Los Angeles. That is my only request. Help restore the dignity and the elegance of Los Angeles. And with that, I'd like to say thank you to all my pilots. So pilots and military, look alive.
Ramiro Bravo. Freddie Coronel. Ramiro Bravo does not appear to be here. Freddie Coronel. Freddie Coronel. Daniel Wright. After Daniel Wright will be Arnold Sachs. After Arnold Sachs will be Phyllis Dougherty.
Daniel Wright on behalf of the Friends of the Southwest Museum. Council members, next Tuesday in these council chambers, you will be unfairly asked by the Autry Museum to support a $6.6 million grant that blatantly violates this city's fundamental and organic law, the general plan. I have handed to you and your staff today a handout with two key documents. One is an editorial of Ann Walnum, a founder of the Friends of the Southwest Museum, published last night on City Watch. We encourage your television and council phone audience to go to www.citywatchla.com to read an explanation as to why the right decision next Tuesday is, unfortunately, to veto the Rec and Parks Board action and require Autry to follow its fiduciary duty owed to the Southwest Museum. The second document for your review and your planning deputy are the specific policies of the city's general plan that are violated by Autry's current project proposal. I hold in my hand a notebook with over 7,000 signatures of people from all over Los Angeles who demand that as a condition of any Autry expansion in Griffith Park, that you require a condition that Autry continue to use the historic Southwest Museum to exhibit its fabulous collection. These 7,000 signatures are factually supported by a 227-page multidisciplinary report of experts that told the Autry Board that it was both physically possible to renovate this museum to meet exhibition standards and that it would generate sufficient revenues within the norms of the museum world. It was the Autry Board, with no supporting evidence, that declared that this report was not acceptable to them. And today on their website, they posted a claim that this report concluded that the museum was not feasible. How long?
Thank you very much. Arnold Sachs, Phyllis Dougherty, and then Wilma Frazier. Is Wilma Frazier still here? Is Wilma Frazier? Okay, great. All right, great.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. Arnold Sachs. Some commentary on last Wednesday's meeting regarding the closure of the 405. Didn't the 10 freeway close for 1 month in '94? The negative impact could be an opportunity for planning an alternative route in case of an emergency like an earthquake closes the 405 freeway. Thank you, Councilman Alarcon, for clarifying, or for the public, my remarks regarding the Dodger Stadium. Wish you could have done the same regarding the report asked about for the airport last year by Councilman Greg Smith. But Councilman Smith didn't make a motion. That's why there's no report. That's why there was no follow-up. Now it all makes sense. And Mr. City Attorney, Councilman Parks, today just made a request regarding the parking red light violations to have a report brought back to the council. So that would mean new information on the item, which would mean public comment. So public comment would not be closed on Tuesday if Councilman Parks' request is followed up on. Isn't that correct, Mr. City Attorney? Maybe you could talk about that. And finally, the Dodgers. The history of the Dodgers, the city to own the Dodgers, right, Councilwoman Hahn? What about the other 88 cities in the county? What about the county of Riverside? What about San Bernardino? Don't they have fans in the Dodgers? Somebody on this side of the podium said the Cleveland Indians owner made a stock offering, but it was the owner. Frank McCourt can't do that because if he offered a percentage of his ownership, he'd become a minority owner who would be bought out by his wife. That's why that doesn't make sense. So how will you decide who will own the Dodgers? I mean, the real stake here is Ed Roski, who's waiting for the city to approve the football stadium, who can come in then and buy this Dodgers.
Thank you, Mr. Sachs. Phyllis Dougherty is our next speaker, followed by Wilma Frazier, and then we will go to the San Fernando Valley. Phyllis Dougherty.
Thank you, Madam President. I am here today on behalf of an employee of the Department of Animal Services. Ms. Hahn will remember this employee. He is an Animal Control Officer 2, who for 11-year employee for 5 years, he was an acting lieutenant, and he was at the harbor for some of that time. During that time, he was the head of the emergency preparedness. He did the training just as an officer on this higher level. He's the one that attempted to get you the 10,000-gallon water reserve, not only for the animal shelter there, but so that everyone in the harbor would have extra water in an emergency. The general manager of the Department of Animal Services was engaged in an, if not illegal, unethical act in returning an animal to a rescue while it had an owner and a microchip, which she knew. And those rescuer, the veterinarian, whoever did it, removed the animal's microchip. And it had to be returned to the shelter with the microchip missing because there was an owner. This took place in Mr. Park's district. I'm sorry that he's not here. I'm asking for an investigation because when the general manager of a department can misrepresent in a letter to the public and to the councilman that she did not make a decision that she made, that a lieutenant made a decision which she admits was made at the general manager's level. Blame it on him, demote him, and he is now leaving the department because he has obtained a position as the emergency preparedness officer for about 5 states in the Midwest. We will continue to have this department dissembled because the goal is to remove law enforcement, to force the Los Angeles Police Department to do the law enforcement as our officers are demoted, discouraged, misrepresented, and leave this department. This applies to all of the employees. I am speaking on their behalf, and we're asking for an investigation. I have all the documentation.
Thank you, Ms. Dougherty. Ms. Frazier.
Thank you again for hearing me. I am bringing to the attention of you people the homelessness that's happening up under the 105 freeway at the intersections of Imperial and Wilmington. I'm not here standing up for something that I don't like. I'm standing here for something that I know that's not right. Ms. Hahn is not here, but she talked about the Watts Gang Task Force, and I've been there. And that organization is a joke. Nobody from actually homeowners, a lot of homeowners are not represented there, but who's represented there is Imperial Courts, Jordan Downs, Nickerson Gardens. Those are the people that are represented there. And they are in support of what's going on with the skateboard park, which I'm not trying to get back into that, but I want our streets to be safe. And what's happening in Watts, the streets are not safe. The kids are walking and seeing a lot of gang issues there. The same people from Nickerson Gardens, Imperial Courts, I've invited over to the Watts Towers to take advantage of the programs, and they've told me that they can't come, they would need transportation there. So I don't know how they're going to come and take representative of what's happening with the proposed skateboard. But I am very concerned about our kids in Watts. And like I said, there's an issue of homelessness, people living up under the 105 freeway, that nothing has been done. So I ask you guys, can you please do something about that? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we go to Van Nuys for Candido Meraz and for Glenn Bailey.
Thank you, Madam President, and good afternoon. Candido Meraz, proud resident of the 12th District, where I've had the honor and privilege of being represented by the great Councilman Greg Smith, and we will truly miss you, Mr. Smith, and thank you for setting our district with no boundaries, where we believe that if something good happens in another area, quality of life is improved, that we all benefit from that. And with that, this week I was able to get out into 2 other districts. And Mr. Kokorian, your North Hollywood High School Senior Award Night class of 2011 last night had the highest number of students graduating with honors, and it was unbelievable to see the diversity when we had students from all over the world that go to your school there. Mr. Hong, Miss Barrell, Miss Vasquez, to see these students from different cultures, to get the educations and to be honored students, and then to see the staff. I was never a big fan of LA Unified, but to see the staff and teachers and the administrators who worked hard and who loved these students, it was amazing to see this, especially the young lady, Maria Vasquez. I was honored to provide a vehicle for her to go to the prom this year, and not knowing that she was one of the honor students and one of the valedictorians. It's just great to see what happens in our communities if we all work together. And to that one woman that just concerned about the gangbangers and all those other problems, yes, we have that, but look at all the great things that are happening in this city, where we have kids from all over the world that come here, and one day truly these kids will be our leaders, and I think they'll change this world for a better place to live. The other event was the DWP meeting at the Browley Center on Wednesday. Mr. Nichols did a great job of trying to convince us that we need those rate increases, but 3 things have to happen. Contracts have to be taken a look at. Lawsuits have to be redone. The city attorney has to represent the city of the city. And one last thing, Madam President, overtime at DWP, their 980, 540, Article 33 has to be taken a look at. Overtime is killing us at DWP. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Glenn Bailey.
Thank you. Good afternoon again, council members. First of all, several comments. May I respectfully request that when you're doing an hour and a half of presentations on a council meeting day, that you schedule the rest of your business for a time certain, like 11 or 11:30, so the people who come to do the people's business and not to listen to a lot of people talk and present can just arrive at the time closer to when the business would be done. Secondly, I think that, with all due respect, it's not right that some people who have suffered a personal tragedy get additional time to do public comment on agenda item. If that were the case, then everyone who's suffered a personal tragedy in this city should be afforded the same right. And that's not happening. I see these council meetings all the time, and that's not the case. So that was an unfair thing to do earlier today, and I hope that doesn't happen again. I want to comment with regards to the Department of Water and Power rate increase meetings, the next one of which will be this Saturday, tomorrow, at Mission College, starting at 10 a.m., which is open to all stakeholders, all ratepayers, although is advertised as being specifically for neighborhood council board members. But apparently DWP didn't check with the Department of Neighbor Empowerment to learn that Dunn is having a Valley Regional training for all Neighborhood Council board members at the same time at the Browdy Center in Van Nuys. So the thing is that the departments need to coordinate. If one department's having something for Neighborhood Council board members specifically, they need to talk to the department that oversees the neighborhood councils and the board members to coordinate to make sure there's not a conflict, particularly geographically in the same area. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Back to City Hall. That marks the end of our public comment period. Madam Clerk, I believe our next item is posting of motions.
Yes, Council has motions for posting and referral.
All right. That is, sorry, moved by Mr. Cardenas, seconded by Mr. Kerkorian. Next item.
There are excuses on the desk. Councilmember Koretz requests to arrive at 11 a.m. on Tuesday, June 21st for city business, and that meets council policy.
No, without objection.
And Councilmember Parks requests to be excused on Tuesday, June 28th for city business. A motion is required.
Motion by Mr. Parks, seconded by Mr. Cardenas. Okay, you can't put that in a motion.
That clears the desk.
Thank you very much. All right. Next order of business.
The desk is clear, so you might want to go into announcements.
All right, members, are there any announcements? All right. Any announcements? Any announcements? All right. Mr. Parks has an announcement. Mr. Rosendahl has an announcement.
Thank you, Madam President. For the public, just to be aware of the LADWP financial plan on the road meeting for South LA is Tuesday, June 21st, 6:30 to 9 at the California African American Museum at Exposition Park, 600 State Drive. And also there are two local events. The Baldwin Hills Estates annual homeowners meeting is Saturday, June 18th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And the contact number is 323-292-4342. And finally, this weekend, two-day event in Leimert Park that deals with the annual celebration of Juneteenth, Saturday, June 18th, and Sunday, June 19th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Leimert Park in the Vision Theater parking lot.
Thank you, Madam President. And Mr. Koretz is also going to join in on this with me. I wanted to take a moment to let everyone know about a great event taking place this weekend. The Found Animals Foundation will be hosting a huge pet adoption event tomorrow on June 18th at 16 locations around the Los Angeles area, including all of the city animal care centers. The event will feature reduced adoption fees for most animals and will serve as the kickoff event for their larger Cat Days of Summer promotion. Mr. Koretz.
No microphone. There we go. Beginning tomorrow and throughout the rest of summer, Found Animals will sponsor a 2 for You promotion. Adopt 2 cats, and Found Animals will cover the adoption fees for the second cat. Additionally, Found Animals is also partnered with Clinico to offer low-cost spay and neuter services for cats, and this will go through the end of summer. Neutering male cats will cost only $15, and spaying female cats will cost only $25. The adoption event will be a fun, family-friendly outing and a great way to find a new pet and do some good in the world at the same time. And the other promotions represent great savings opportunities for folks looking to adopt a new cat or sterilize their existing one. And more info can be found at foundanimals.org.
All right, members, if there are no other announcements, would everyone please rise for adjourning motions? Thank you very much. Members, are there any adjourning motions today? All right, Mr. Parks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also ask Ms. Perry if you join me on this on behalf of Cora H. King, who passed away very recently on June 10th, 2011. Cora began her life in Richmond County, Augusta, Georgia. She was the 9th of 10 children born to the late George and Sarah Cobb Williams. At the early age, she joined and was baptized in the Spirit Creek Baptist Church. She's a graduate of the Haynes Normal and Industrial Institute of Augusta, Georgia. Early in her life, it became evident that Cora was one to aim high. She moved to L.A. She furthered her education, pursued a career in fashion design and cosmetology. She was excellent seamstress, and at the early age, made a lot of her own clothes and clothes for others. She was in demand for her designs. She always dressed impeccably, not a hair out of place. She certainly was creative and grew, manifested in an entrepreneurial direction as she opened up what would be called the first bed and breakfast of that day, providing lodging for those traveling through. This multi-talented lady entrepreneur spirit grew as she owned and operated several successful businesses, receiving with her business partner, Kevin Pickett, the Distinguished Essence Award for service to the community for the Palms Residential Care Facility. Cora and Kevin founded Palms in 1996 to provide housing services to homeless men and women who are multi-diagnosed with HIV or AIDS, substance abuse issues, and mental health issues. In 2002, she also founded the Mount Carmel Treatment Center, and that did a residential housing for men and women with drug and alcohol problems. She and her former and late husband, Al King, also managed many successful businesses in the motel industry. She was never one to rest. She kept busy on the local economy, making numerous real estate investments, and was a member of the Consolidated Realty Board of Los Angeles. She's also a member of the Regalettes Advisory Board, which is a nonprofit social and charitable club which has provided financial aid for numerous young people to further their education. Again, she passed away on June 10, 2011. Services were today, June 17th, at 10 a.m. at Fame, and also the interment was Inglewood Cemetery.
Thanks, Mr. Parks. I would like to second that. Is there any other adjourning motions? All right, seeing there are no other adjourning motions, the meeting is adjourned. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Thank you.